I just want.
Okay, we're going to begin our April 22nd, 2025 Board of Zoning Adjustment meeting. Have not been here before. We have cases for zoning variances and special permits. And we will go in order of the agenda. When we call your case up, you come forward, there's a table here, and a sign-in sheet with a pen. I think there's special pens so that you are reminded not to take the pen home. But if you can write your name legibly, that way our reporter can get that down. I will ask that everyone's testimony on the record is the truth. And so if you, to save time, instead of swearing everybody in as they come forward, I would like to swear you all in as a group. And so if you know that you're going to speak tonight, for or against, or you're the applicant, please stand up so I can swear you in. Raise your right hand. I promise to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. Please state I do. I do. Thank you. We allow the applicant to have 5 minutes to speak, and then we allow any concerned citizen, neighbor to speak for 3 minutes. We do ask that you state your address and if you know the approximate distance from the location of the subject property, that's also helpful. Sometimes we have maps, so you can kind of direct us to location on the map. So if we have any preliminary items to get through, we can go with that.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. We do have 2 preliminary cases, 2 preliminary matters this evening. First is the request for tabling, number 4 on the agenda, BZA 24-165 at 116 Pole Street.
Will the applicant for 1106 Pole Street come forward? Not here, no one's, I see somebody's shaking their head. Are you familiar with the case?
I'm sorry, I was shaking at my,
Oh.
that's different.
Okay, 1106 Pole Street, not here.
Okay, we'll move on to our next one. Case number 6 on the agenda, BZA 24-177 at 3690 Fisher Boulevard.
Okay, will the applicant for 3690 Fisher Boulevard please come forward?
Hello.
Yeah, come on. State your name, please.
Alex Pierce.
Okay, you were sworn in.
Say that again.
You were sworn in just now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or what do you mean? Yeah.
When I asked everybody.
Oh,
for
yeah,
the-
I did.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
So, your request?
Just the table, this application. The West Scioto Area Commission was not able to meet in quorum on the 17th, so we don't have a recommendation from them. So.
Is anybody here planning to speak about 3690 Kissinger Road? Okay, so no one has any objection to us tabling? Okay, is there a motion?
Motion to table.
Is there a second?
Second,
Motion's been called, please call the roll.
Ms. Egelhoff?
yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yeah.
Mr. Malaka?
Yes.
Chair Powell Bailey?
Yes, table, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
That's it.
Okay.
Sir, did you sign in?
245 East Lakeview Avenue.
East Lakeview Avenue is located on the southeast corner of East Lakeview Avenue and Calumet Street. It's part of the Clintonville Area Commission and existing zoning as R3 residential district. The 0.11 acre site is currently developed with a single unit dwelling. Surrounding uses include similar single unit dwellings to the north, south, east, and west. The applicant proposes to construct an addition which will include an attached garage. The applicant is requesting variances to reduce the minimum side yard from 3 feet to 1 foot on the east and west side yards, and to reduce the combined side yards from 7.06 feet to 2 feet. Planning supports this proposal, but has requested that the proposed variances be conditioned on a review of the proposed elevations once they are developed by the applicant before obtaining a final building permit. Division of Traffic Management has noted that an extension of the existing driveway will be necessary as approved by the Department of Public Service. That is an edit that came in recently, so that is an update since that second report was printed. The Clintonville Area Commission has recommended approval of the requested variances, voting 5-3 in favor. And the City Department's recommendation is likewise that approval. Staff recommends approval as the variances are necessitated by the uniquely thin lot width. The proposed development is also consistent with other similar developments along Calumet Street. As previously mentioned, we do recommend the following conditions: that the extended driveway shall be limited to a maximum of 20 feet, and that the elevations will be reviewed by the Planning and Division to ensure they align with the Clintonville area plan prior to filing for a final building permit.
Did we hear this before?
Yes, they are returning from a table.
Okay, can you state your name or then we'll sworn in?
Casey Goff, yes, I've been sworn.
Do you have anything to add to this application?
No, so the original application was set for 3 feet to 0 feet on the east property line. During the first meeting with the CAC, which is the Clintonville Area Commission, we agreed to move from that meeting and meet with the architect who's in charge of the job that I've been working with, see if we could move the project towards the Calumet Street side, which is the west property side. After viewing all of that and looking at the designs and the layout of everything on this property, we decided and agreed that we could do 3 feet to 1 feet on both sides. So we're keeping the application as is for this meeting.
Well, it does say 3 to 1.
Yes,
It doesn't say 3 to 0.
no,
Okay.
no, the original that I was going back to
Oh, okay.
to the original meeting. So we looked at the neighbor to the east side voiced concerns about what is that set up for 3 feet to 0 feet on that property line.
And did you guys have a resolution? And that was on the-
Yeah, so we discussed and we came up with the 3 feet to 1 feet. So that's why we're not making any changes to this.
That's what-
Yes, yep.
Are you in agreement with the conditions that the city has put on around the driveway and the elevation review?
The driveway is new to me.
The drive, that came in literally today.
Okay, I was gonna say, I haven't seen anything with that yet.
And I would defer to traffic management to clarify.
So I guess, yes, that was a late breaker comment on that. It was predicated on the updated material showing there was an expanded driveway. So some of the previous materials had indicated that the driveway was going to be remaining as is. So at least as it was been presented in the staff report as far as the driveway, there would have to be a modification of that to use that area. Just
Okay.
wanted to make sure that was clarified in the conditions, and just wanted to note on the record that that would be permissible, but it would be a maximum of 20 feet for that.
Okay, okay.
So that's an affirmative agreement.
Yes, so nothing, so with that driveway, nothing's gonna get created or new with the curb cut that we have existing. It's just a driveway extension.
So and that is, I mean, what you've shown on the, I guess, Dane, you go to the
Yeah, that should be,
drawing. Yeah.
we're not doing any new curb cut for the driveway. It's just an extension in the yard.
So I guess that is the clarification. If you are expanding as shown on the plan, something
I don't think it's on.
that might be the other.
So is the question whether or not expanding the driveway, is that the question?
Yeah, so the material, so yes, this will. So,
That's okay, yeah.
so the expanded driveway, so based on that, it would appear that we need these modifications to the curb. Because the photo that we consider it's driving over the curb. So, so that is, if you're proposing that configuration, there need to be a modification to the curb.
Okay. Can you? I'm not a builder.
If I'm understanding correctly, it would just be the apron would need to be expanded to.
To line up with that outside court.
Exactly, is that my understanding?
Right, there would need to be modifications, so that, since that was shown.
Okay.
If we'd seen that, make sure that was made.
Gotcha.
We're gonna be allowed to do that?
Which one?
Expand the concrete driveway?
If we approve.
And I guess that's the question, that's not being asked.
Correct, yeah, that, it's not,
I think your costs are, you're pausing because we had so many of these that have come in for variances they've done without permits. And the difference is, when they've extended, people in the past have expanded their driveways, they've done it and it doesn't lead to a legal parking space. So this driveway would actually lead to a legal parking space.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Doesn't exceed the maximum width.
Gotcha, okay. So applicant, I'll ask you, do you understand the modifications that the city is looking must be given to this plan before you submit it to review?
Yes.
Okay. And you're in agreement with both conditions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there anybody here that wants to speak about this application? Do the board members have any questions for the applicant?
Call the question.
Let's go through the drafters first. So the property in question yield a reasonable return. And can there be any beneficial use of the property without variance? I think that answer is yes. However, I don't believe that the variance is substantial in nature. The area commission worked with the applicant to reduce the encroachment, potential encroachment on any adjacent properties. The character of the neighborhood will not be substantially altered. And I think because of the 1 foot as opposed to a 0 setback side yard, say, the adjoining properties would not suffer substantial detriment. No adverse effect on the delivery of government services. The property owner likely had knowledge of the zoning restrictions. And could they be obviated through some other method? No, just because of the odd shape of these lots and the very narrow width of the lot. And I think the spirit and intent of the zoning requirement is observed and substantial justice will be done by granting the variance. We're ready to vote.
Mr. Jones?
I agree with the chair's assessment of adopting factors and vote yes.
Mr. Malaka?
I agree with the assessment as well, and vote yes.
Ms. Egelhoff?
I appreciate that, and can working with the neighbor on resolving the issues last time, so that's acknowledged and appreciated. Likewise, I agree with the chair's analysis on the factors and vote.
Hereupon Bailey?
Yes, variance is approved. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
1277 Road.
Yeah, I put my name.
Check. 1277 Terrell Road is located on the south side of Terrell Road, approximately 650 feet west of Alma Drive. Is on SR residential and part of the Northland Community Council. The 0.17 acre site is developed with a single unit dwelling, including an existing driveway leading to a detached garage. Surrounding uses are primarily single and multi-unit dwellings. The applicant was cited for constructing a parking pad in the front yard of a dwelling without permits. A variance is being requested to legitimize the paved parking area in the required yard by reducing the parking setback line from 25 feet to 0 feet. Planning is generally supportive of this proposal and requests a street tree along Corral Road frontage if supported by the city, that is supported by the city forester. The Northland area plan states landscaping should be used to support stormwater management goals for filtration. Consistent with these guidelines, staff requests a street tree along Corral Road frontage supported by the city forester. The Division of Traffic Management states, based on analysis of historic aerial imagery and information on the Franklin County Auditor website, it would appear that the eastern driveway apron on the site was original to the house upon construction in 1962, and that the western driveway was added with construction of the detached garage in 1968. If the variance is not approved, then the original driveway apron would need to be removed. The Northland Community Council recommends disapproval with a vote of 14-0. City is recommending disapproval. Staff consistently recommends disapproval of variances that would allow parking within the required front, side, or side yards. While the property originally had a driveway in the same location, it was removed and allowed to revert to lawn, thereby eliminating the previous non-conforming conditions. Staff notes that this site currently provides adequate off-street parking with an existing driveway and detached garage. It does not support the addition of more parking in the front yard. Going over the Duncan standards, is there a beneficial use of this or beneficial use without the variance? Yes, the property can have. The property currently has an existing driveway and detached garage, which provides sufficient off-street parking without the need for additional front yard pavement. Is the variance substantial? Yes, the request to reduce the parking setback from 25 feet to 0 feet represents a complete elimination of the required setback. The essential character of the neighbor altered. Although there are a few properties in the neighborhood with similar front yard driveways, reintroducing parking in the front yard would conflict with the residential character of the neighborhood and set an undesirable precedent. Government service will not be affected. Knowledge of the zoning restriction is unknown, and could the predicament be obviated without the variance? Yes, the applicant can continue to use the existing legal driveway and garage for off-street parking, which meets the zoning requirements. The spirit and intent of the zoning code. No, the intent of the code is to maintain front yard aesthetics and avoid excessive paving, both of which are compromised by the request.
Can you state your name, sir, and whether you were sworn in?
Jason Nguyen, and I did swear in early today. Like Adam say, we moved in last year, and we the neighbor had the same house setting with the driveway and the imprint entrance already have it, and we I mean my for think that that should be allowed. I did talk with the community and went to their meeting. So now they already exist. I just asked to see if I can have the same size as imprint, because the existing imprint they have a long time ago. I don't know, previous owner may have it and they have been removed. The reason I added in, I will, if you see on my document, you see the car we park outside, the mirror got mashed. So the mirror of the car or the van got hit by the traffic outside. So we thought that will be help the neighbor, help us and avoid to park on the street, to have a parking, a decent parking.
Well, sir, you have parking on the side of the house, am I correct?
Yes, before we park on the side, for overflow, my kids went to school, sometimes they couldn't get in, so they park outside. So we thought this is a better solution for us to have the park, additional parking in front of the house.
Yeah, unfortunately, the code doesn't allow for parking in front of the house. It only allows for parking in front of a garage. So
Yes,
there, so that would not be code compliant and would actually take away from the aesthetics of the neighborhood, the whole purpose of the zoning.
yeah, that's what, my community mentioned the same thing. However, like Adam mentioned, couple house, like the exactly same house next door, one house away, had the same setting. And we,
They have two driveways?
Yes.
yes, they had two driveway.
Actually, theirs was, because this house right here, it's 1295, and they were allowed because that driveway was original, so that driveway never grassed over, his grassed over. So that was existing conforming, which was allowed, they redid it, and it was allowed to be redone, but once it grassed over, it lost
Understood.
it.
I think that's a violation too, but we'll deal with that secondarily. Was the driveway created, secondary driveway, was it created legally?
Yes.
That person came through the process?
With this person?
No, I mean.
Yeah.
This was too.
The same contractor do that house also do for mine because he,
Do you understand why theirs is different than yours?
what I heard from Adam, say that, they, ran for the
They
permit.
didn't go through a period of grass and then putting it back. They left it intact from the beginning. Yours was not intact.
Yes, and I also had an imprint comment, so that's what I thought the entrance already exists
Yeah.
for a long
understood.
time, yes.
And you, so you're saying you bought the property because with this driveway there or with the
Uh,
inside thing?
Just imprint there, yes,
So
yes,
you put the concrete.
yes, I put a concrete there, like they did for the neighbor, so they did for me as well, yes.
This is what it looked like before it's paved. It's the loss, it's not.
Yes, I think there are only two house on the street has same architecture setting like that, so I thought it not disturb the neighbor. Because it's not like many house, there are only two of us, the same imprint.
Sometimes people slip through the cracks, but not this one.
Yeah. Is there anybody here that wants to speak about this application? Please come forward. Sir, can you pass the mic? You can stay in your seat.
Mr. Witt.
Thank you.
I do have it in the site.
Okay, can you state your name, whether you were sworn in?
I can. My name is David Paul. I co-chair of the Northland Community Council Development Committee, and I have been sworn.
Go ahead, you can sign in after you give your sworn.
Okay. I appreciate your time this afternoon. Our committee did meet with Mr. Nguyen, as he mentioned, on February 6th, 26th, I'm sorry. And as staff and the chair have mentioned, we were not supportive of the application. I won't recapitulate the history because it's already been discussed here, but we determined in our meeting that was the fact pattern, that there used to be a garage there. There was no longer. The former driveway was removed, coincidentally with the construction of a new driveway. At that point, as far as we were concerned, the previous owner of Mr. Nguyen's property had lost the right to maintain that driveway in the location we're discussing now. The main concern that we have at this point is that that is not typical of the neighborhood, although as Mr. Nguyen has mentioned, there are several other homes that have similar structures. And we believe that it would set a bad precedent in that neighborhood to allow the neighbors to pave their front yards. My co-chair, Mr. Logan, is here. He actually lives in the Carmel Woodward Park neighborhood where this is located. And if you'll indulge us, he can speak a little bit to the precedent and knows a lot about that neighborhood.
Thank you.
Any questions for me? Thank you.
Okay, sir, come forward and let me know your name and whether or not you were sworn in.
Name is William Logan, co-chair of Northwood Development Committee. Tonight, I'm representing actually Carmel Woodward Park Civic Association, to where the applicant and the resident resides. I have been sworn in. Thank you. The neighborhood wanted me to relate to the committee. Well, first off, I want to comment, Mr. Jason, very nice gentleman. They've improved the home since they've moved in. He mentioned he just moved in, and we run into this problem in the neighborhood all the time where new neighbors move in. They have no idea what has transpired prior to them showing up, and then find themselves in this particular case, not under, with making changes that don't work with the rules and the process underway. Specifically, the neighborhood wants, the three core issues for the neighborhood is there is no hardship here, simply put. As has already been noted, there's an existing two-car garage with a two-car driveway that supports up to, which was already acknowledged, 8 cars if one stacks them from the garage to the street. 2, if it was for some unexplainable reason this was approved, it set an unacceptable precedence for the neighborhood on a couple levels. One, the typical problem with contractors coming in the neighborhood, convincing people they can do things that they can't and don't. Therefore, people check with the city to see if they can obtain a certificate of zoning compliance. It would establish, well, there technically right now is no legal parking spot in front of the home because there is no garage in which to park a car in front of, in addition to the setback problem. And then the last point there is half the front yard is now concrete with a two-car wide section of concrete that supports the addition that was placed in question tonight. The neighborhood's requesting obviously disapproval and that the existing or the new concrete be removed. And there was also a point made that the neighborhood agrees with that the curb cut, which seemed to be an originator of this question at hand, also be removed so that a future owner, if there is one, isn't tempted to do the very same thing.
I have one question for the city. Whose responsibility is it to remove the curb cut?
It would be the property owner's responsibility. They're responsible for everything behind the curb.
None of this is in our purview.
Right. Right.
Just trying to clear up who. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Does anybody else want to speak about this application? Okay, back to Mr. Nguyen. Do you have any responses to?
My response is,
You got the phone.
oh, sorry. So what I'm like to say, if we not, can we use that patio for something else because they already on the route and, you know, the city can remove the imprint or we can remove it because it's already on the route and a very, you know, a lot of processing to remove it. Or can we, like Bill say, like half of the yard? No, it's not half of the yard, but we can adjust it if according to the city zone. Because, yeah.
I would recommend that you, whatever is decided today, you come back and talk to city staff about options. Things like that are a possibility. Size makes sense. You have to make sense of it. So it's not what we do here on the fly, but we'll give you an answer here. I think city staff might be able to give you some guidance on what would be acceptable as a patio in the front, a porch or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, thank you. I know Adam, I asked him a couple of options, but he asked me to wait for this moment. Thank you.
Okay, so, if there's no other questions, I'll go through the jumping factors. Okay, so, the first one, will the property in question yield a reasonable return, whether there can be any beneficial use of the property without the variance? I think the answer to that is yes, because you do have a garage with parking spaces that you hold. The variance is substantial in nature because you are parking in front yard, which is not allowed, taking up, zero set. The central character of the neighborhood would be substantially altered. I don't think that one house that has a pre-existing condition would be sufficient to say that that is being allowed in the neighborhood, as a whole. The delivery of governmental services, I don't see that as an issue. The owner put in the driveway, so I think the owner has to take ownership of that act. I do understand the existence of the curb cut and existence of the footprint did make it look like it was allowed, but unfortunately, contractors don't always have the right information. So that's just an unfortunate situation here. The property owner's predicament cannot be obviated through another method of the variance. And I think the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would not be observed if we would allow this to occur on this property. So we are ready to call the question.
Call the question.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Malika?
I concur with the chair and vote no.
Mr. Lovely?
I also agree with the chair's analysis to vote no.
Ms. Egelhoff?
I always agree with the chairman's analysis of the zoning factors.
Mr. Jones?
I concur and vote no.
Chairperson Bailey?
No, variances are not granted. Like you said earlier, you can get with the staff about what new variances may need to be requested if you're going to keep that concrete slab, because you are going to have some issues with required bars, setbacks and stuff, so you'll have to work with the city outside of this meeting tomorrow, this week.
Okay, yeah, okay. I will add Adam for the suggestion. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
503 Ashwood Road.
That's what.
Hens Woods Road is located on the south side of Ashwood Road, approximately 430 feet east of Parsons Avenue, which is part of our South Bronx Area Commission. Existing zoning is our restricted rural residential district. The 0.6 acre site is currently developed with a single unit dwelling and detached garage. Surrounding uses include similar single unit dwellings to the north, south, east, and west. The applicant proposes to split the lot into 3 separate lots. One with the single unit dwelling, tract 2, one with the existing garage, tract 3, and one which will be vacant, tract 1. The applicant is requesting variances to reduce the lot area requirement from 20,000 square feet to 8,228.08 square feet for tract 3, 10,687.8 square feet for tract 2, and 6,489.7 square feet for tract 1. To reduce the required lot width from 100 feet to 46.15 feet for tract 3, 60 feet for tract 2, and 36.50 feet for tract 1. Reduce the minimum side yard from 7.5 feet to 5.1 feet for the east side yard and 5.38 feet for the west side yard for tract 2. To reduce the total side yard from 11.3 to 10 feet for tract 2. Reduce the parking setback from 25 feet to 24 feet for tract 2, and to reduce the number of off-street parking spaces from 2 to 1 for tract 2. Planning has no comment on the proposal, as neither the Scioto South Plan nor Columbus Citywide planning policies, C2P2 design guidelines address this matter. The Division of Traffic Management has stated that if the lot split is approved, the existing access point on the northeast portion of the current parcel must be removed if the associated garage is also removed, which we are going to have a condition for that. The Far South Columbus Area Commission has recommended approval of the requested variances, voting unanimously. City Department's recommendation is likewise that approval, staff recommends approval as the proposed lot split would provide greater housing density, which is in line with the city's goal of providing greater access to housing. While there is no street parking available near the site, the reduced parking setback and required parking are mitigated by the small degree requested, as well as the lack of access to a rear alley to provide parking access. We do recommend again the following condition. That the existing garage shall be demolished and the existing access point to the northeast portion of the parcel shall be removed.
I don't have those conditions.
Those were also a similar update that was added today from the comments first. Yep. And they go in line with each other since the garage is going to be conditioned as, you know, being removed, so we don't have a garage on the parcel by itself. We're also having the condition that access to the garage is also removed since there won't be a garage next.
And that's on track 2?
That's on track 3, the far east lot.
And track 2 is gonna have the house,
Correct.
and we're not having more than one parking space. Why?
So the reason that we have to reduce the parking here is the way that the lot is being split. It wouldn't allow for any sort of driveway to reach the rear. There is no rear alley either to access parking in the backyard. So the only place to situate parking is one space in that little kind of divot on the western side of the front facade. And that's also going to require a parking setback of 1 foot. Under normal circumstances, that would be something obviously that we would consistently recommend disapproval. But we also have the fact that if we reduce this to 0 parking, there is no street parking in this neighborhood. So that would be a significant hardship.
But it's not for lack of land that we couldn't do everything that you need to do. It's for
Oh, certainly.
lack of limited planning, I said.
Certainly, and then again, if the board decides to disapprove this particular case, that would be the applicant would have to go back to the drawing board and probably adjust those lot lines.
Well, hopefully he'll enlighten us as to why he has this limited planning.
Certainly.
Can you state your name or whether you have to sworn in?
Yeah, my name is Mohammed Asbin.
Is the microphone on? Is it green light?
Yeah, it is. My name is Mohammed Asbin and I already swore.
Okay. So you state your last name.
Asbin,
Has been, okay.
yeah, Asbin, like AZZABEN.
Can you make sure you sign in, please?
Yeah, I already.
Okay.
Tell us why you were splitting the lot into 3.
So the main reason is the lot is about half acre and wanna in the future build like affordable houses on it.
In the future or?
Yeah,
right now?
Yeah, in the future.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
The reason I'm trying to split the lot is trying to build houses on it, affordable houses.
And what are the area, what are the lot widths in this neighborhood?
When
What's this rule? Basically, parcels, this small.
Mr. Johns, are you,
I'm sorry.
I'll need to like pull your mics closer.
Yeah. Are you talking about the code required lot width?
No, I'm just talking about what's around.
Gotcha.
We, we recently did one for 525.
So tell me, point to that.
It's right here, when, they don't have the houses. Sorry, it's one case, but they had the side yard variances.
And so that was existing size. And it's out.
I'm not sure. It was a couple years ago.
And what lot is this?
And one to the west.
Oh, right next to it.
Yeah.
So all of them are bigger lots.
So all of them.
The one next to us. Pretty strong. But it's just one house.
Very briefly, members of the board, I had a question. I have the applicant listed as an LLC. Don't know about this gentleman's. If he's able to represent the LLC, and I would ask if you could ask some questions about that litigation.
We have anything in the packet on? We do have,
Product disclosure statement.
Is there
I
one?
see the affidavit.
The owner is the last name.
The owner's name says. Yes, sir, could you tell us who is Lennon Mode and
That's me, it's just my LLC.
It's what?
Yes, it's my LLC.
You're the owner?
Yes, I am.
So,
Yeah,
okay, so you are authorized to speak with them, see this.
of course, yeah.
Thank you. Ernie?
Thank you.
Okay, so we have, can you go back to that?
So there's that right here.
That's what seconds.
You describe the property was, I can't read where they're going. So. We did pretty good.
Mr. Malepic, will you use your microphone?
Yeah, so the property lines, going to be here, so, on the aerial, that would be right here. And then between the, existing, house and the detached garage, which would be over here.
I mean, if I'm looking at this, I would say that the lines could be different.
Sure.
The house in the middle could be longer and deeper so that you have the width necessary to, have a two-car driveway leading to wherever you need to lead it to. Again, I'm speaking to the limited planning that you're providing to us, and you're asking us to give you relief for something that you really don't need relief from if you plan to.
There's also the option, traffic had brought this up, a while ago, there is also the option of leaving the lot lines as they are, but having a driveway, between the, two resulting lots that would be shared by, those two lots to access parking at the rear. That is an option as well. That's an option that the applicant has.
A shared, he turned it down,
Yes,
a shared driveway.
yes.
I don't love that either. Sad.
Well, I just.
So-
Speak to what is the hardship?
So,
Why are you in a hardship here?
You're required to have a hardship to make this request. What is
Yes.
your hardship? What's the difficulty?
it's just for, the concrete pad, like for the parking spot. And yes, I mean,
You have a blank slate, so you can do whatever it is that you want to do.
yes.
Why don't you make it as compliant as you possibly can? Why are you not making it compliant?
Are we talking about track number two or?
Talking about, I'm talking about all three tracks, because you're asking us to make a variance
Yes,
for all three tracks.
correct.
When it's potential that you could figure this out and not ask for any variances. You own the land, there's nothing prohibiting you from being compliant. You're not speaking to any hardship that you're having.
Yeah. I mean, in order to split the lot, when I went through the zoning, that was the requirement from them, like,
So yes, we acknowledge that changing a lot from the existing configuration,
yes.
you do have to have some, to make it
Correct.
non-conforming, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
So we understand that, but the things like the parking don't have to be. Lot lines and lot sizes potentially, but not the parking. So everything is not a hardship here that you're describing.
Okay.
If I could suggest, if you had a plan.
Yeah.
Of what you were doing,
Yes,
that might be arguments for why you're getting these requests. Because we don't see anything,
like what type of plan? I already have the site plan, which is,
if you have what you're going to build.
okay,
next.
okay. Yeah, I don't have that right now, but right now I'm going through the
I
split
think that'd be
process.
helpful for us to understand
Okay.
what you're going
I
to do
mean,
in the future.
Yes, I have an idea, but I don't have like the actual plans. So I was going step by step, splitting the lot.
What he's saying is we can see, okay, I can't divide it this way to be compliant because in order to fit this structure here, this is what I have to do. Like, we don't just allow you to come in and say, hey, I want to do this without telling us why we should allow a deviation from the plan in abstract.
Yes, but I mean, in my case, in order, to start doing design, like I need to split the lot first, then from there I go from there. But
Then come twice. Come twice, you gotta figure that out. That's not something that we really do here on the fly.
Mhm.
And I certainly appreciate and applaud you wanting to do affordable housing. But you have to plan things out. You can't come and ask for relief if you don't have a plan. You created the plan already.
yes,
You can tweak your plan so that you don't need to ask for all of these things.
Yeah, I mean, the read what I'm seeing here is it's not favorable right now, what I'm seeing, if it's wrong. But, so you would probably best off suggesting the table this until you've gotten that figured out.
So, yeah, so our process here is that if you come forward and bring requests and we vote no,
Yeah.
in order for you to come back and bring that same request, you have to have significant changes to the request. So if we voted no on this, you couldn't bring this exact plan back to us.
yeah.
So the question I have for you is, do you want to move forward and get our votes? Or do you want to say, let me table it and come back with a plan that reflects the hardship that would be necessitate these variance requests?
Okay, so are we talking about how I'm thinking to develop the other tracks, right? That's
I don't wanna box you in and say that's all we need. We need for you to explain what is the hardship that you're being faced with that would require you to request these variances.
And to be clear, I don't think that we're opposed to splitting the lot. It's a great thing. Right? But you have to come up with a plan to be as compliant on everything that you're going to build on each respective lot. You come and said, we want to build this on track 2, but it won't be compliant, so we won't relief. We'll build it differently, design it differently, so that you don't have to come and ask for that relief.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm a little bit lost, but I mean, when I follow the process of splitting, that's what I came with. So,
So, as the chair had recommended or suggested, you have 2 options. We can move forward, the board can vote. If there's a no vote, you'd have to come back with something substantial in order to represent the case. If you vote to table it, you have the opportunity to go back with your team, perhaps talk to the zoning staff,
yeah,
and then get some feedback and guidance so you can come back with a more solid plan that they know that we might be able to rule.
okay. Yeah, just gonna table it for
You
now.
want to table it? Okay.
I mean, that's the best option.
Is there anybody here that wants to speak about this application? No. So nobody's opposed to us tabling this. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Webley,
Yes, David.
Ms. Egelhoff,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes. All right, sir, we're not done.
Oh, so.
Mr. Malaka,
Yes.
Chairman Bailey.
Yes. So your application is tabled and you can work with the city on when to get it back.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
Thank you. Let me call 1106 Cole Street. Is there comments? Okay, 1106. 473 Jackson Street.
473 Jackson Street is located on the south side of Jackson Street, approximately 50 feet west of Beach Street. Part of the Columbus South Side Area Commission, and the existing zoning is R2F residential district. The .12 acre site is currently developed with a single unit dwelling and a detached garage. Surrounding uses include similar single unit dwellings to the north, south, east, and west. The applicant proposes to split the existing lot into two separate lots. The north lot will retain the existing single unit dwelling, while the detached garage on the resulting south lot will be demolished, allowing for future development with a single unit dwelling. The applicant requests variances to reduce the number of off-street parking spaces from 2 to 0 for the north lot, reduce the square footage for a lot in the R2F district from 6,000 square feet to 2,605 square feet for both resulting lots, reduce the required west side yard from 5 feet to 2.3 feet for the north lot, reduce the building setback from 10 feet to 8.3 feet, reduce the minimum width of a lot from 50 feet to 27 feet for both lots, and allow a lot to front an alley. Planning supports this proposal. Columbus citywide planning policies, C2P2 design guidelines, state the appropriateness of infill development be measured in terms of height, width, setbacks, and lot coverage. The proposal will legitimize existing conditions that are compatible with the surrounding neighborhood, consistent with C2P2 guidelines. Staff concur with the applicant's statements in support and are therefore supportive. The Division of Traffic Management has no comments, and the Columbus Southside Area Commission has recommended disapproval, voting 0 to 10 for the parking reduction and 4 to 6 for all the other variances. City Department's recommendation, however, is that of approval. Staff recommends approval as the majority of the variances are to legitimize existing conditions. Furthermore, the lot split will result in greater housing density, which is in line with the city's goal of providing more housing availability, and the reduced parking is mitigated by the walkable nature of the surrounding neighborhood and the existence of street parking options. Chair.
I'm confused as how the lot split legitimizes existing conditions.
It does look to nice.
The side yards specifically for the existing and lot width for the existing house.
And front setback.
And front setback, thank you.
Okay, can you state your name without your sworn in?
Yes, my name is Gretchen Rogensen. I have been sworn in and I'm a representative of the property owner.
Looking for your,
The applicant, he resides in, is it New Zealand, correct?
Currently New Zealand. Yes.
New Zealand, and this is a real estate agent that the applicant consistently works with. In the past, we have had the representative just state on record that they are allowed to speak on behalf of the applicant. I've been in communications with the applicant, she's aware. So if that passes muster with the legal, we could proceed forward that way.
Correct, she's been legally sworn in, so she's under oath, so effectively her testimony that she's authorized to speak on, if that is her testimony, does substitute for an affidavit.
So same as before, what's the hardship here?
The property owner is looking to legitimize the existing conditions of her residence, and then mirror that with the lot split to the rear. This would make one lot to the north with the existing home. She's also supplied a demolition permit, should she receive the lot split, excuse me, for the south parcel.
So we're splitting the lot front to back.
That's correct.
And so you're saying we already are, we have the problems with side yard and lot width already.
Right, the existing property as it would stand is reflected in the request for the variance.
And so the lot that fronts the alley would be the back lots.
That's correct, the south lot on South Alley, and there are other existing properties on that alley with 0 parking.
There are other properties facing the alley, 0 parking.
That's correct.
Like how many?
Let's see, I've got sort of a blown up map here that I've used to research. I actually toured a property recently that had 0 parking on South Alley, so I know there's at least one. Let me get my bearings here on this map.
And where do those people park?
Um,
Around the corner?
Around the corner, the one in particular had like an easement agreement with another property owner.
The address that they get a front, they Jackson Street property, but they use that.
No, it's actually called South Alley is the street name, and their front door is on South Alley. Yeah.
The villagers have all of them.
So can you speak
Right,
to?
there's-
Oh,
I'm sorry, I finally got my bearings on the map. Let's see. No. This is Jackson Street here. Oh, there's the subject parcel. And then this is South Alley where recent developments have occurred along South Alley. They have parking underneath their building, and then down here toward Parsons to the east, there are multiple dwellings that affront South Alley. As you see here, and then that, oh, I need my glasses. I think that's Beck. Yeah. There are properties also that affront Beck. They were divided, and then there's residences along South Alley.
So when you went to the Southside Area Commission, what was their general concerns?
Yes, I did attend one of their meetings, and we also did a site visit at the subject property. What I find good is that the aerial map from the auditor site actually is a great representation of every day on Jackson Street. I can say that when the property owners was in residence there, I would visit during the middle of the day and then also for dinners. And so I was there daytime and night, and this is very representative about how there are at least 7 to 9 parking spots within a 3-house up and down the street. I was always actually able to park right in front. When I met with the on Jackson. When I went with the Southside Area Commission, we did an 8 a.m. meeting on a Saturday morning. So that was the first time at that time of day, assuming residents would be home at 8 a.m. on a Saturday. The same exact parking situation. All 9 of us that attended were able to roll up within a 2 or 3, actually within a 2 to 3 house radius. And when we left, there was additional parking even opening up. So parking was their suggestion that they wanted to talk about.
But are they concerned about parking on South Alley or on Jackson Street?
They were concerned, I believe, mostly with the variance request to go from 2 to 0. Currently,
And that request is for which street?
would be for both parcels of the lot split. Yep.
Oh, it says on the north lot.
No.
The application says reduce the number of off-street parking spaces from 2 to 0 on the north lot, and the north lot is the lot that's facing the alley, correct?
The north lot faces Jackson Street. Yeah, so that would go from 2 to 0, and then the development of the south lot is pending.
So you don't have a parking requirement there because you're not submitting a building for that yet?
Yeah, any variance that would be requested would need to come before the group.
So you're only requesting the variances because the house sits on that north lot right now?
That's correct.
Okay.
Then you take it away from Rob.
Okay. Is there anybody here that wants to speak about this application? Okay, please come forward.
Thank you. Okay. I stay here and let them speak.
Please state your name and whether or not you were sworn in, and I'll let you write on the sign-in sheet once you finish your testimony.
Okay. My name is Gary Stulfoth. I'm Secretary of the Schumacher Place Civic Association, and I have been sworn in.
I'm sorry, can you tell us where your property is in relationship to this subject property?
I'm located about a quarter mile to the south
Thank you.
in the neighborhood.
Okay.
First, I'm asking that you deny this variance application. The description of the proposal that's in the meeting agenda is it's, it says to split a lot, construct a single unit dwelling. Well, that's not accurate because the application states that, the applicant proposes to demolish the garage building and have a raw lot available for a new single-family development. But the application doesn't include a plan for development of that new lot, and that's one of the concerns to the members of our civic association. Another concern is that the lot split would create problems where none currently exist. The existing condition of the parcel is really good. It's a single-family dwelling, detached garage to provide off-street parking. And the Jackson Street area, I guess I disagree with the characterization of the parking there. It's an extremely congested street. And because of that, a permit parking program is in place there to address that congested parking. And then, splitting the lot, what it's going to do, it's going to deprive any possibility of off-street parking for the existing dwelling that's there. And it's going to exacerbate the congested on-street parking.
How does that, help me understand, how does that exacerbate the lack of parking split?
Well, if right now, I understand the people that rent the dwelling that's there, they can't use the garage because the owner has things stored in the garage. And so they park on the street. But
Arguably, it's not exacerbated at all. But it would be an existing, it'd be the same.
in a way, it's existing, yes. But if, say, the owner expressed to our civic association their plans to sell that front dwelling, and if somebody new bought that, they would have off-street parking to avail themselves of. And if that garage is gone, there's just no possibility.
Oh, that's what you're saying.
There's no possibility of off-street parking for maybe someone new buys it when it gets sold.
So there's a garage, you say there's a garage.
There is a garage there, and it's
To your testimony.
well, it's used for storage. That's what I understand from the owner.
So you spoke about the lot configuration being ideal as it is.
Yes.
Do I not see other lot splits? Am I mistaken? Like are these that I'm looking at already split or no, except for maybe these two?
There are other similar lot splits in this area, and you are seeing a few of them on this map.
So it becomes a little difficult, as I make decisions, they usually are around precedent building things.
Mhm.
When I see an existing precedent that lots are being split, and they are being split in inner city neighborhoods to help create additional housing.
Well, I know that,
which is
yes.
critically important.
Yes.
So I am not disagreeing with some of the things that you're saying, but when you say that it's ideal as it is, I think that's relative and a very limited viewpoint.
Well, I don't want to go over my time here,
Well, when we
but
speak, your time is.
well, I would just say that another objective of the mayor is to provide entry-level housing and to be able to build that generational wealth by purchasing property. And in Schumacher Place, the existing property, the way it is, with not a really large home in front and a garage, I have an idea of what it might sell for, because I'm very familiar with the neighborhood. I've lived there a long time, and it would provide a very good starter home for new homeowner to be able to get into that, new home ownership and have a house, a garage, and have the opportunity then to make improvements to the house. Possibly they could do the same thing by making, their own improvements on the back of the lot to the garage. And I know it's another way of looking at that, I guess. Okay. Well, I guess finally, the application, it includes no plan for development of the new lot, approving the lot split, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to get a single-family residence there in the future. It's not possible, to gauge the impact that this future development might have on the neighborhood. Oh, I just want to state it's South Lane, not South Alley.
Thank you.
That is the street back there.
Okay.
And there's no possibility to park on that. It's a skinny little thing. And could I also address the lot split?
Yeah.
Many of those lots, I don't know exactly when that happened, but they have been that way a long time. I don't know when. The new builds up near Parsons, those lots have been that size for a long time. They didn't get split as part of what just got built there. The two condominiums right next door, those lot splits didn't just happen when they went to build those condominiums. Those lots were already sitting there, as far as I know, at that size. A lot split was not part of that project. That's, so yeah, there are houses at front on South Lane. All the new ones do have off-street parking. There are a few that do not, but those houses have been there for a long, long time. So I guess I would ask that you support our Civic Association and the Southside Area Commission in denying this variance application.
Thank you for just
Okay.
Yeah.
But you weren't sworn in, were you?
I am sworn in. I swore
Okay.
in. Derek Faust, President of Schumacher Place Civic Association and a nearby neighbor. I'm located right on 569 South 9th Street, which is the first house on South 9th. So you go up right to the left, down where it's down to the right. There you go, right in there. So I have lived there for roughly 9 years. So due to the impact of parking, Nationwide Children's, obviously they have a lot of people parked there, contractors and everything. While it might not be as busy on the weekends, during the week, it's like pulling teeth to try to get parking. So that does impede on the neighbors in our local community. And just to kind of piggyback on what Gary was stating, it would reduce for that front part of that front section of the house, there would be no parking, so that would impede on anybody else moving into that place. And then the back lot, yes, while you could do some things back there, all those other dwellings, you'll have neighbors park in the middle of the street and you can't get a car through those alleys. So it is impeding on that as well. So it's really a nuisance in my opinion. And as somebody that lives close by and can attest to the parking issue currently that we have there. And again, as the president of our Schumacher Place Civic Association, I would also suggest that or ask that you guys deny. That's all I have.
Anybody else want to speak about this application? I see no one else. I guess I'm feeling like just the last applicant, we're not presented with a plan for the development of the new lots. And I don't know if we're missing this almost of action without a plan of what's gonna be on the new lot, because we've been giving up.
No, I think the board is spot on, typically when you have lot splits to this degree, we show the total developments. In future variances that may be needed for big clear moment.
So I don't know if you follow that here, but.
I think so.
We're here for the last.
Yeah,
Application.
yes. Mm-hmm.
You're asking us to kind of fly blind here, which we don't usually like to do. And so I was thinking, so saying here from the neighborhood and the fact that you got a zero vote from the commission causes me.
Yes.
And I don't see the hardship. I see the existing condition,
Yes.
but you're living with these existing conditions. So you're asking us to split the lot to do what? And that's the step we're missing. Why do you need to split the lot? What's the hardship that's causing you to split the lot?
I think the desire of the homeowner from our discussions is to do the lot split so that she can possibly develop that rear lot. She has been provided, Ohio Realtors has developed an infill lot guide with sample plans that were worked with the city of Columbus to promote homeowners to promote people, to give them a guide for providing infill housing. So she was excited by that. She wants to attempt to do that. And by obtaining the variances to codify the existing lot and then just mirroring it to the south, she feels like then she can move forward with adjusting something like that and creating a plan. But
You
I
think
hear,
maybe you're out of step a little bit? And
yeah, that's
maybe-
what she's learning is that we felt it was cart before the horse, but you're telling us the opposite, so with your process. So I think, we came in confident this evening that all of staff reviewed and no one had comments. All of staff was favorable to move forward. But if the flavor of the group is saying that it would be more helpful for a plan for the south lot,
I think
then
that would be helpful for your community as well, to see this is what we're going to put there. And you can work through issues with them, I think getting their comfort with the plan, Michael. Just my experience seeing how the commissions work and seeing that process.
yes, I sit on an area commission as well, so I appreciate the process very much. So I think that I would ask to table.
Is there anybody here tonight that wants to speak against the tabling request? Okay. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Ms. Egelhoff?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Malacca?
yes.
Mr. Mobley?
Yes.
Chair Pound Bailey?
Yes, table.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, 2633 Audubon Road.
See again.
You can go ahead and sign it.
2633 Audubon Road is located at the southwest corner of Arlington Avenue and Audubon Road, part of the North Linden Area Commission, and existing zoning is R3 residential district. The 0.12 acre site is currently developed with a single unit dwelling. Surrounding uses include similar single unit dwellings to the north, south, east, and west. Applicant was cited by code enforcement for constructing a two-car detached garage without a permit. To legitimize the garage, the applicant is seeking a variance to reduce the required setback along Arlington Avenue from 10 feet, 7 feet. Planning supports the proposal as presented. The North Linden Neighborhood Plan Amendment and Columbus Citywide Planning Policies both state that garages should be located behind the house if the site is served by an alley. Staff notes that the garage has already been constructed and is located with vehicular access from the rear alley. Due to consistency with both plan and CPG recommendations, planning supports the proposal as presented. The Division of Traffic Management can support the requested variance with the condition that the existing driveway that provides direct access to Arlington Avenue shall be removed. It is also advised that a vehicle exiting the concrete pad in front of the garage might need to maneuver onto the adjacent property to the west due to limited alley width if multiple vehicles are parked on the pad. The North Linden Area Commission has recommended approval of the requested variance, voting unanimously. City Department's recommendation is likewise to have approval. Staff recommends approval as moving the parking for this lot to the rear. Access off of the alley will match the surrounding development pattern. And of course, we recommend the following condition: that the existing driveway that provides direct access to Arlington Avenue shall be removed.
Can you state your name, whether or not you were sworn in?
Christiane Araki, I'm the owner, and yes, we're sworn in.
So are you in agreement with the condition that the direct access to Arlington Avenue will be removed?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have anything else to share with us about this application?
Just that I'm new to Columbus, so I apologize for going out of order and not getting the permit to begin with. But yeah, as soon as we moved in, we realized that there's a bit of a drug and trafficking issue in the neighborhood. And we had a need to protect our belongings pretty quickly. So we constructed it, and I do apologize. I miscalculated how far to build it, but so we're just putting the application to get approval for the variance for the 3-foot difference. The view from the street, the garage is still inset more from Arlington than the house is. So there's no issues for traffic to be able to see.
Any questions? Is there anybody here that wants to speak about this application? Okay, going to the Duncan factors, there can be beneficial use of the property without the variance. However, I don't feel that the variance is substantial. The character of the neighborhood is not substantially altered. We have, indicated that the North London Area Commission has recommended approval. Delivery of governmental services, I don't think that they would be affected. I don't know about the owner's knowledge of the zoning restriction. There is no other methodology that can be used other than this variance. But I do think that the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement is observed, and substantial justice done by granting the variance, because there is access to this detached garage, and the setback is only for 3 feet. Are we ready to call the question?
Call the question.
Let's call the roll.
Mr. Jones?
I concur with the chair's assessment of the dominant factors of both us.
Mr. Maleka?
I concur with the chair as well, and vote yes.
Mr. Lovely?
I concur, vote yes.
Ms. Egelhoff?
Likewise concur with the chair analysis of the factor, yes.
Chair Bonavili?
Yes, variance granted. Thank you. 287 Southard Drive.
How we doing today? My name's Michael Miller, and I've been sweared in. I'm the homeowner.
My name is Matt Muchler. I'm the architect.
Okay, that's been both signed sheets, thank you.
287 Southard Drive is located on the south side of Southard Drive, approximately 380 feet west of Parsons Avenue. The site is zone R2 residential district, and it's within the jurisdiction of the far south of the City Commission. The subject site is built with a single unit dwelling and a detached garage, trying to use primarily single unit dwellings. The applicant proposes to add storage space above the existing garage, it's off the variance, to increase the maximum height of the detached garage from 15 to 20 feet, 6 inches. Planning is generally supportive of the proposal, but requests an additional window with east elevation. Staff notes the proposal is consistent with Columbus statewide planning policies, recommendation for the garage location, rear access, and compatibility. Therefore, planning is generally supportive, but requests additional window on the east elevation for consistency with fire stopping plan and guidelines. The Division of Traffic and Conduct in the far south Columbus area commission recommends approval. City staff can recommend approval as the proposal is consistent with Columbus statewide planning policies. Recommendation for the garage location, rear access, and compatibility. I guess we're asking to reiterate the condition that the elevation be provided with a rear elevation, and that it stands on it.
Okay, are you in agreement with the conditions that staff is putting up here on the elevation stamp?
Yes, and it was already sent over.
Oh,
on
with the
Thursday.
window?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have anything else to add about this application?
Nothing further.
Is anybody here to speak about this application? Okay, so the property in question would yield a reasonable return about this variance. Variance appears to be substantial, but not out of character with the neighborhood or substantially altering adjoining properties' values. Don't think that this would adversely affect the delivery of government services. I don't know about the property owner's knowledge of the zoning restriction. I don't know that they could add a loft to a garage other than increasing the height. But I think the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed, substantially to them granting variance. We're ready to call the question.
I'll call the question.
Question's been called, let's call the roll.
Mr. Malaka?
I concur with the chair, and vote yes.
Mr. Weatherly?
I concur with the chair, vote yes.
Ms. Egelhoff?
Concur with the chair, and yes.
Mr. Jones?
I too agree and vote yes.
Chair Bailey?
Yes, variance granted.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
6518 BFB Drive.
Hi there, Sean Lanning and Heather Everson from Acura. I'm from Verdantis. Verdantis engineering firm. Verdantis did the plans for Ms. Everson. Sorry. Yes.
Okay, you're from the city first?
Oh, yeah, sure. Sorry.
Thanks.
Okay, 6518 Fiesta Drive is located on the southeast corner of Fiesta Drive and West Dublin Granville Road. The site is zoned into manufacturing and within the jurisdiction of the Northwest Civic System. 1.43 acre site is developed with an automobile repair shop. Surrounding uses include a contractor business to the north, outfield to the south, and an outdoor furniture store to the east, and a wood lot to the west. We have proposed to expand the staging area for automobiles waiting repair. The request variances reduce the storage setback along the secondary thoroughfare from 125 feet to 80 feet, along the south lot line from 25 feet to 10 feet, and along the northeast lot line from 25 feet to 40 feet. Planning is generally supportive of this proposal, but requires additional landscaping and fencing. The Northwest Plan states that consideration can be given to allow reduced setbacks for commercial buildings and parking and circulation are both behind the principal structure. The Division of Traffic Management states that 88 parking spaces will need to be revised to meet the requirements of the Department of Public Service accessible parking space specifications. The 8-foot passenger access aisle that is shown to the west of the western 88 parking space should be reversed to 5-foot access aisle that is shown to the east of the western 88 parking space. Additionally, 88 signs will need to be added with the revised exhibit. The Division of Traffic Management's comments regarding right-of-way dedication on Dublin Grand Road. Northwest Civic Association recommends approval. Representative on that. City staff is recommending approval. Although the staging area is not consistent with the Northwest Plan recommendations, staff recognizes that the variances are legitimized for citing that the penalty exists and can recommend approval with the following condition. If the applicant provided an exhibit, we stand to take the additional landscaping and fencing along Fiesta Drive and West Granville Road to screen staging.
Okay, do you have anything else to add to the application?
Not necessarily, just clarify that this parcel has been used for the same thing for 20 years, for a long time, you know, and then in order to have, so nothing is going to change with the use of the building, the use of the property. The pavement isn't expanded, there's really not, there's basically, we're just going to restripe the parking lot to what it's really been used for the same way for forever, which is just a staging area for vehicles for Acura Columbus. They just, you know, bring in their used cars, and then the building is, there's a few bays there that they just, and there's no walk-in traffic at all. It's just employees picking up the vehicles, getting cleaned up, and they go back out to go into the lots to be sold. So the way this property's been used for a long time, we're going to, you know, of course, add a bunch of up to current code standards, City Columbus things. We're adding, you know, the dumpster enclosures, putting new dumpsters in. We're getting, you know, a bunch of buffer trees and everything, just to kind of buffer the whole area. And that's really all we're doing, it's just those few things.
This site plan has the revised ADA spaces already.
Yes, everything should be good, and like Mr. Reese says,
So you're comfortable with us stamping this tonight as the final? Okay. Is
Yeah,
there
I
any-
just want to point out Madam Chair, that most recent site plan was significantly upgraded compared to what was.
This is fine. I can start with the landscaping.
Yes.
Is there anybody here that wants to speak about this application? Please come forward. Is somebody with libraries?
I've not been sworn.
You have not been.
I've not been sworn.
You promise the testimony given that in the truth, nothing but the truth, please state I do.
I do.
Okay, go ahead and just state your name.
Monica Tuttle with Northwest Civic. We voted in support of this. The hardship that wasn't necessarily articulated tonight, but this in the packet, is that there isn't a place, the way that the buildings are set on the parcel, there isn't a way to put the storage behind the buildings. This is existing, and they are adding significant evergreen screening to the existing deciduous screening. So I'm happy to answer questions, but we're very pleased with this.
Thank you. Can you please sign your name on the sheet?
Yes.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak on this application? Okay, applicant, do you have anything else to say?
no.
So going to the Duncan factors, the property in question could not be used as they want to use for storage without this variance. I don't think that this variance is substantial. The plan calls for commercial establishments to be closer up to the street. And so I think that the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement will be observed. I don't think that there's another way that the property owner could accomplish this. I don't know about the knowledge of the zoning restriction, with this property location, seeing that the applicant testified that this property has been used like this for 20-some years. I don't see the delivery of governmental services being impacted, nor do I see the character of the neighborhood as substantially altered. Are we ready to call the question?
Call the question.
Question's been called, let's call the roll.
Mr. Lovely,
I agree with the chair's analysis.
Ms. Egelhoff,
Concur with the chair's analysis, vote yes.
Mr. Jones,
I agree and vote yes.
Mr. Malika,
I concur and vote yes.
Chair Powell Bailey.
Yes, variance granted.
Thank you.
Thank you. 847 and 853 Bassett Avenue. A lot of Bassett Avenues.
Yeah, actually, the next couple cases, as you just mentioned, are very similar. They're all along the same kind of block. A lot of the projects are the same. Cases 10, 11, 12, and 14 are exactly the same. 13 is similar, but there is an alley. So each of us will touch on differences. But for the first one, BZA 25-013 for 847 and 853 Bassett Avenue. It's located on the west side of Bassett Avenue, approximately 430 feet south of East Fifth Avenue, zoned R3 and in the North Central Area Commission. The two lots have a combined area of 0.13 acres and are undeveloped. Surrounding uses are primarily single unit residential with manufacturing to the north and southwest. The applicant proposes development of a 3-unit dwelling with each unit solely owned and on its own parcel. Variances are being requested to reduce lot width from 50 feet to 16 feet for all 3 lots, to reduce lot area from 5,000 square feet to 1,498 square feet for all 3 lots, to reduce the side yard setback from 3 feet to 0 feet for all 3 lots, to increase the building lot coverage from 50%, 749 square feet, to 60%, 899 square feet for lot 2, to reduce the total side yard setback from 20% of the lot, 3.2 feet,
of the total lot width to 0% for lot 2, and to reduce the number of parking spaces from 2 to 1 for lot 2. Planning is supportive of the requested variances. Staff note the proposed site plan and elevations are consistent with North Central Plan design guidelines. Staff encourage the applicant to include new street tree plantings along Bassett Avenue in coordination with the city forester for consistency of the plan guidelines, recommending street trees should be provided for with new residential developments, but do not condition support on this request. Therefore, planning is supportive. Division of Traffic Management requested the applicant to investigate the feasibility of adjusting the proposed lot lines to have a width of 18 feet for the rear of the center lot to allow for 2 9x18 parking spaces within the center lot. The applicant has provided an updated site plan which resolves this comment. The North Central Area Commission recommends approval of the request by a vote of 6-0. The staff can recommend approval of the requested variances as the proposal meets the North Central Plan design guidelines and is in line with the city's goal of increasing the housing supply. Furthermore, the applicant has provided the requested street tree on each lot in front of the units. And we do recommend condition that site plans will be stamped.
Okay, so we'll vote on these separately, but just that we have what we're doing here. We're saying that each of these lots, they're requesting to split into 3 so that they can build these connected towns.
That's correct. And this image will show kind of what the block will look like with all of the development.
Yeah, so I see the plans in the packet here. Okay, can you state your name or you're sworn in?
I'm Joel Grimes, and yes, I was sworn in.
Okay. Joel, you are.
I'm with,
He is a representative of Habitat.
I work for Habitat for Humanity.
Okay. Why is it that the parking for lot 2 is going for 2 and not for 2?
That center unit is only 16 feet wide. And so if you look at the lots, we're splitting those parcels and making that one parcel so we can sell these to individual homeowners. And a typical two-car lot would be 18 feet wide. So on a 16-foot wide lot, you can't put an 18-foot wide parking
Are
spot.
they all 16 feet wide?
No, the 2 side ones are 21.
Oh,
Yeah.
because it does say 16 for all 3.
The units themselves are 16, but the side lots are 21. There's 2 dimensions there.
Any questions from the?
No, we're not going down to 0 on any of these. There's one that doesn't have, which isn't this one. So we'll get to that.
Anybody here that wants to speak about this application? Okay, so going through the Duncan factors for this first one. Yes, property could be built here without this variance. I think the variance is substantial, however, I think that there is a hardship here with housing in the city, and this is a remedy to that. I think that, the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed, substantial justice would be done. I don't know that they can build 3 townhouses on this lot without these variances. So these variances are required for this development. The property owner did say that they purchased the property now with knowledge of the zoning restriction. I don't see any government services being adversely affected, and I don't see the central care to the neighborhood being substantially altered. Are we ready to call the question?
Call the question.
Question has been called, please call the roll.
Ms. Egelhoff,
concur with the chair's analysis, they don't, that person vote yes to their.
Mr. Jones?
Yeah.
Mr. Malaka?
Concur with the chair, yes.
Mr. Webley?
I concur, no, yes.
Chair Pompeo?
Yes, variance granted.
Thank you.
835 and 839 Bassett Avenue seems to be the same. Can you point out if there are any differences?
It's just more, the square footage, where I believe his was 1498, mine's 1506, for the, what variance?
The lot width.
Yes, the area addition requirements, so it's just, different numbers, like slightly. It's still 60% on the basis computing area. Same deal with the 2-to-1 on the middle lot. Same recommendation for approval. And we're also asking the site plan to be stamped.
Can you state your name when I was sworn in?
Joel Grimes, and yes, I was sworn in.
Are you in agreement with the condition that this is the final site plan? It's mine?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any questions for the applicant? Is there anybody here that wants to speak about this application? Okay, going through the development factors, yes, the property could be built on this lot without variances. However, we are satisfied with the plans to build that would necessitate these variances. The essential character of the neighborhood would not be substantially altered. Delivery of government services would not be adversely affected. The property owner did purchase the property with knowledge of the zoning restriction, but did go through the proper steps to get approval from the North Central Area Commission. There would be no other way to build these connected townhomes, but for the lot split and the variances. And so I see that the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirements would be observed, substantial justice done by granting variance. Ready for a question?
Call the question.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Jones?
Chair, vote yes.
Mr. Malaka?
I too agree with chair, vote yes.
Mr. Webley?
I concur, no, yes.
Ms. Egelhoff?
Likewise, concur with chair, vote yes.
Chair Palmer Bailey?
Yes, variance is granted. 841 and 843 Bassett Avenue appears to be the same as the past two cases. Can you, for the city, highlight the differences?
Yeah, sure. All the variances are same except for the second one, which is a difference of 3 feet. Where the last one was 1512, this is 1509 square feet. Again, voting, recommendation for approval and asking for the site plan stamp.
Okay, can you state your name when you're sworn in?
Joel Grimes, and yes, I was sworn in.
You are agreeing that this is the site plan that will be stamped tonight?
Yes.
Do you have anything else to add to the application?
No, I don't.
Is there anybody here that wants to speak about the application? Do you have any questions from the board? Okay, going through the development factors. There could be an alternative to building on this lot. These variances are substantial, however, this is in line with the central character of the neighborhood. No adverse effects to delivery of government services. The property owner did purchase the property with knowledge of the zoning restriction, but has gone through the proper steps to obtain North Central Area Commission approval. There is no other way to build these units other than these variances have been requested. And I think the spirit or intent behind the building requirement would be observed, substantial justice done by granting variance. Are we ready for a question?
I'll call the question.
Questions been called, please call the roll.
Mr. Malaka?
I concur with the chair, vote yes.
Mr. Webley?
I agree, vote yes.
Ms. Egelhoff?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
I concur, vote yes.
Chair Palmer Bailey?
Yes. Variance is granted. I'm going to skip to number 14, just for efficiency. 813 Bassett Avenue. looks to be the same as the past three applications. Will the city please highlight the differences for us?
Yeah, so that one is gonna be similar as well. The two differences. Oh, is it just one, this one? Is it the second variance? Here we go. Yeah, so it's gonna be the lot area is gonna be a reduction from 5,000 to 2,058.69 for lots 1 and 3, and then 1,532.53 square feet for lot 2. On that, so it's gonna be difference there, but other than that, yeah, try homes.
Can you say your name when you respond in?
Joel Grimes, and yes, I was sworn in.
Why are is the size of the town all the same?
Yes,
It's just the size of the lot.
It's just the size.
Needs to be the difference in variance.
correct, yeah. Because those two side lots, once again, those are 21-ish feet wide, where that center lot is only 16 feet wide. Center unit.
Anything else to add to the application?
Nope.
Is there anybody here that wants to speak about the application? Do we have any questions from the board? Okay, we'll be done with factors. Yes, something else could be built on this property other than these 3 units, thus making this variance substantial. However, I think that this is in line with essential care to the neighborhood. Government services would not be adversely affected. The property owner did purchase the property with knowledge of the zoning restrictions, but have gone through the proper steps to obtain the North Central Area Commission's recommendation. There is no other way that these could be built without the variance. And I think that the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed, substantial justice done by granting this variance. Are we ready to call the question?
I'll call the question.
Question been called, please call the roll.
Mr. Ludwig,
I agree with the chair's analysis, but yes.
Ms. Egelhoff,
Third, chair, who wants us to vote yes?
Mr. Jones,
I agree also, and vote yes.
Mr. Malacca,
I concur with the chair, vote yes.
Chair Power
Yes, being granted. Okay, the last one, 799-803 Bassett Avenue appears to be different. Let's let the city present this to us, please.
Correct. So the reason this one is slightly different here is it is a duplex rather than a triplex. So the variances are going, I'm gonna go through all the variances for this one, since it is significantly different. The first variance is gonna be to reduce the lot width from 50 feet to 29.6 feet for both lots. Second variance to reduce the lot area from 5,000 square feet to 2,644 square feet for both lots. Third variance to reduce the side yard from 3 feet to 0 feet for the north side yard of 799 Bassett Avenue and for the south side yard of 803 Bassett Avenue. And final variance to reduce the parking, the number of parking spaces from 2 spaces to 0 spaces for 799 Bassett Avenue. Chairman.
Okay, I do know that you have a condition that the site plan would be stamped on this one as well. Can you state your name, whether you're sworn in?
Joel Grimes, and yes?
Did you are in agreement with the site plan?
Yes.
Can you speak to us about the 2 to 0?
There's no alley that we get, that goes behind that lot. So for the south unit, the south parcel, there'd be no way for us to be able to get to a parking spot on that parcel.
So where are those people gonna park?
On the street, they would have street parking on.
Right, in front of the place,
Correct.
along with everybody else. on
Yeah,
that street.
apparently there's virtually nobody that uses that street for street parking.
Anything else you want to add to this application?
No,
Anybody here to speak about this application? Do we have any other questions from the board? So, the property in question could be used for, a different beneficial use. The variance is not as substantial as the previous ones that we were listening to, as this is going to be a duplex. And I don't think that the character of the neighborhood is substantially altered. I don't see adverse effect to the delivery of government services. The property owner did indicate that they purchased this property knowing the zoning restrictions, but they can work with the North Area Commission to obtain approval. There is no other way to get these units built on this parcel without variances. And I think the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would still be observed with variances and substantial justice by granting such. Are you ready to call the question?
I'll call the question.
Question has been called, please call the roll.
Ms. Egelhoff?
I agree with the chair's analysis. I've been back for yes.
Mr. Jones?
Oh, yes.
Mr. Malacca?
I agree with those benefit factors as well, but yes.
Mr. Weatherly?
I concur, but yes.
Chair Bailey?
Yes, variance is granted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. We're gonna take a 5-minute hygiene break.
You won't use them, otherwise that comes in or not. Done anything?
Yeah.
Jamie, I couldn't find my stamp if you did. It'd be okay. It wasn't. Oh, really?
Great, it's not.
Case number 19.
Yeah.
But I was thinking this. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that they.
Yeah, you can go online and get your. And they would put stuff in. Yeah. Think about it. But how can I find it? Is it okay? Well, I mean, I've only got 2 variants. No. Team. That's where I can. Okay. Features, we go. I think we. If you get this, okay. Can't approve this, but that's fine. I don't think so. Yeah. Thank you for your help on. Oh, come on. Because. Is that right?
But it's looking great.
Well, we're saying it's not a. There's a. Well, it's inside. It doesn't make a perfect. It's not because it's. It's not.
Area.
It's just grand wall. So it's not, it was perfect parking. It's great. I opened up. You're still going to get started. Yeah.
It's hard to They're, yeah,
It's not inside part. If we look at it, it's fine. It doesn't say. It didn't say roof. Yeah, say that it's covered and it says. Well, okay, yeah, that area. But I went down that either, so it's a site, right? It's at the library, same. And so I mean.
We have 632. I'm trying to really know. And tell us you can do the. Yes, there's a don't know. And so they just try to recover the area. Well, they. Yes. Over there. Yeah, right here. No, that's all. Yeah, it's over here. Yeah. So you come in here, we see about. Yeah. So it's here, I mean, it's open to the sky. Yeah. There doesn't crash. That's right. That's what's happening. Find out what's happening. That's what we
Break time over.
Drop your.
Let's give you our last piece this year. Next one on this is 506 East Sycamore Street.
PZA 25-016 for 506 East Sycamore Street. It's located on the north side of East Sycamore Street, approximately 360 feet west of Parsons Avenue. It's zoned R2F and located in the Columbus Southside Area Commission. The 0.13 acre parcel is developed with a single unit dwelling and a detached garage. Further to the east, the surrounding uses are primarily residential with a mix of single and multi-unit dwellings and commercial space. The applicant proposes to construct a two-story rear addition that will connect the existing dwelling and the existing detached garage, and requesting variances to reduce the required building line from 10 feet to 7.7 feet, to reduce the maximum side yard setback from 16 feet to 7.7 feet, to reduce the western side yard setback from 5 feet to 2.3 feet, and to reduce the minimum required rear yard from 25% of the lot to 14%. Planning is in full support of the proposal with a revised west elevation that simulates infilled brick window openings with a herringbone pattern, as is consistent with South Side Plan and C2P2 design guidelines. Staff recognized the fire rating requirement for the west exterior as a mitigating factor for staff's request for additional windows. Therefore, planning is in full support of the proposal, as the proposal is consistent with plan and C2P2 design guidelines. Division of Traffic Management has no comments regarding this application. And the Columbus Southside Area Commission recommends approval of the request by a vote of 9-0. Staff can recommend approval of the request as it will increase the livability of the existing home by providing additional bedrooms and improving the existing bathrooms, which being original to the 1900s home, do not meet current building code requirements. Also, the applicant has revised the western elevation to provide architectural features to meet the South Side Plan and C2P2 design guidelines. We are recommending condition that the elevation be stamped for consistency.
Okay, can you state your names for the non sworn in?
Dominic Lupino, Residential Design Solutions. I was sworn in.
Good evening. My name is Natalie Wilson and I'm one of the property owners. And yes, I was sworn in.
Do you have anything to add to this application?
Nothing more than most of the variance applications are due to the addition, bringing in existing non-conforming conditions into effect.
Which ones are existing?
So the existing house is within the front side yard. So then there's the maximum side yards. Again, the existing house is so close to the existing property line that with the addition size, we have to ask for a variance because non-conforming conditions now come into effect. The rear yard requirement, we wanted to do the addition in the back because we have this unique lot. It's almost like a double-sized lot, maintaining the front yard look from the street. And we believe this best meets the neighborhood character.
There is no way to build the back, right?
The addition is at the alley side of the property, which is at the rear.
Guess I'm talking about. The addition is going to the side, to the back.
The back end side.
The back.
The back end side, yeah. It's basically also connecting the existing house to the detached garage. So now the detached garage is becoming attached.
But it's not in the back.
Oh, let's see. Yeah.
I can bring it to you.
Okay. Is anybody here to speak about this application? Do you have any questions from the board? Okay, going to the Duncan factors. Yes, this house could survive without, the addition, but I don't find the variances substantial. Connecting two structures already on the same lot seems to be not altering the essential character of the neighborhood. Don't think that that would adversely affect the delivery of government services. The property owner did indicate that they purchased this property with the zoning codes in existence at the time. But I don't think that the predicament could be obviated through another method other than these variances. As the applicant stated, some of the variances existed already, so these are non-conforming uses called to question because of the addition. And so therefore, the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed and substantial justice done by granting variances. Are we ready to call the question?
Call the question.
Question's been called, please call the roll.
Mr. Jones?
I agree and vote yes.
Mr.
I'm
Bailey?
very proud of it.
Thank you.
Mr. Malaka?
Concur as well, vote yes.
Mr. Lovely?
I concur, vote yes.
Ms. Egelhoff?
The chair agrees, yes.
Chair Palmer Bailey?
Yes, variance granted.
Thank you.
3452 East Livingston Avenue.
Three-four fifty-two East Livingston Avenue, located on one side of Livingston Avenue, approximately 320 feet east of Barnett Road. The site is zoned within the new commercial activity center district, and it's within the jurisdiction of the Mid-East area plan. 3.14 acre site is built with a Columbus Metropolitan Library. Surrounding uses include a school to the east, a Dakota Park right to the west, a church to the south, and a Columbus Recreation Center to the north, which have to be zoned in the SR for Ridgeway residential district, and it's what is triggering the need for variance. The applicant proposes to install a pollinator garden, walking path, in the north perimeter of the property, request variance to not provide screening along the lot line that borders a residential zone for each property. Section 3372.707G states that screening shall be provided along the lot line that borders, regardless of the presence of an alley, a residential zone on each property. Screens with fence or evergreen plants shall maintain minimum 75% opacity, and permanently obstruct view to a height of 6 feet. The Livingston East area plan recommends landscaping, screening, and accessory uses should be incorporated in order to minimize the impact of commercial mixed use and light industrial development on adjacent residential uses. Planning staff notes the use of a pollinator garden as landscaping screening between the site and the residential zone property north of the parcel and are supportive of this request. The division of traffic management state that a right-of-way dedication of 60 feet from the center line of East Livingston Avenue will be required. However, this requirement was reduced to 50 feet from the center line of East Livingston Avenue. The right-of-way dedication except for the partial approval letter dated February 2024 will be applicable to this application. These are provided by the Department of Public Service staff, and therefore the division track plan has support this application. Committee steering commission recommends approval. City staff can recommend approval of the use of a pollinator garden will be used as a landscaping screen between the site and the residential zone property. We're not asking for any additions.
Okay, can you say your name, whether you sworn in?
My name is Eric Zartman. I have been sworn in. Yes, please. Thank you, Chair Palmer, Bailey, members of the board. My name is Eric Zartman, attorney for the applicant. The Columbus Metropolitan Library is upgrading all of their library systems, and they're currently adding a 11,000 square foot addition to this branch on Livingston. As part of the whole project they're hoping to improve the site inside and out. So a major part of this is to encourage connectivity between the public institutions to the north, which is a park and a community rec center. And so our request to eliminate the landscaping requirement between these two properties would encourage connectivity between those. The requirement for screening is a good one when you have a commercial activity next to a residential home. But in this case, all of these properties are public institutions and public spaces. So limiting the screening requirement will do a lot to encourage people from the rec center to come over to the library. And that's the whole point of it. The pollinator garden, we think, will serve, as Jamie said, an improvement to the screening requirement. It just doesn't meet the requirements of the code. Also included with the application was a letter of support from the Columbus Parks Department, who's the adjacent property owner north.
So what is the pollinator garden?
It's like it's plants that are specific to bees and butterflies, so that they come here and pick up pollen there and then spread it around the community. And then there's also an undulating path going from the community rec center to that. So the idea is to really draw people in from the park and the rec center to the library property. And if there's a 6-foot fence or screen or something like that, it would act as a barrier to that. So that's the request.
Okay. Okay, do we have anybody that wants to speak about this application? Any questions from the? Okay, checking on the Duncan factors. Property in question could yield a reasonable return or could be beneficial without the variance. I think this variance is substantial given the location of the lots and its ordering of the space. The screening seems to be not an issue as we have, as the zoning code would contemplate. I don't think this section here for the neighborhood would be substantially altered in a negative way. Quite the opposite, I think adjoining properties would benefit from the granting of this variance, since this whole pollinator garden is supposed to connect the two properties. Don't think that the variance would be adversely affected delivery of government services. The property owner was aware of the zoning restrictions, but has indicated their belief in that this is a good for the neighborhood. There is no other way to allow this pollinator garden but to provide the variance. To get to our field spirit and intent, behind the zoning requirement would be observed and substantial justice done by the neighborhood. So we call the question.
Call the question.
Question been called, Ms. Baldwin.
Mr. Maleko?
Concur with the chair's assessment, vote yes.
Mr. Longley?
I concur, vote yes.
Ms. Engelhoff?
Concur, vote yes.
Mr. Jones?
I concur, Mr. Vote yes.
Chair Paul Bailey?
Yes, variance granted.
Thank you. Thank you.
172 North 21st Street.
One seventy-two North 21st Street is located on the west side of 21st Street, with 300 feet north of East Wall Street. It is on R2F residential and part of the Near East Area Commission. The 0.17 acre site is developed with a single unit dwelling with a detached garage. Surrounding uses are a mix of single and multi-unit dwellings. The applicant proposes to split a lot and construct a single unit dwelling on the new part parcel. Variances are being requested to reduce the lot width from 50 feet to 30 feet for both lots, to reduce the north and south parcels from 6,000 square feet to 3,825 square feet on the north lot, and from 6,000 square feet to 3,740 square feet on the south lot, and to prevent a lot coverage of 66% on the south lot based on a calculated lot area of 2,700 square feet under section 3332.18C. The actual lot area is 3,740 square feet, which results in 48% lot coverage. Planning is in full support of the proposal. Staff notes the proposed building elevations are consistent with the Near East Area Plan design guidelines, therefore is in full support. Division of Traffic Management had no comments, and the Near East Area Commission recommends approval of the request with a vote of 13-0. Staff recommends approval as the requested variances are consistent with the surrounding neighborhood, where narrow lots and higher lot coverage are standard fare.
Okay, can you state your name, what the applicant was sworn in?
Lonnie Freeman, and I have not. Dave Perry, I have not.
Okay. The testimony you can have, please state I do.
I do.
Okay. That will be testimony.
Certainly. The site is part of a the site is part of a subdivision within the Near East Area Commission area, platted about 1879. It was a 70 lot subdivision, all 30 feet wide and slightly variable in the depth, but about 126 feet deep. Not one of these lots complies with the current 50 feet and 6,000 square feet of the R2F code. The site is 60 feet wide because at some point in time, it looked to me like around 1920, an owner combined the two parcels. The R2F district permits single and two family. The existing building on the north side of the site is a single family dwelling. The proposal is to split the current 60-foot parcel to create a building site for a new single family dwelling on the proposed south parcel. Under the lot of record provisions of the zoning code, if we were splitting exactly on the platted lot lines, this application would not have been necessary. The reason we're not is you see the projection of the existing house on the north side. That projection, it turns out, is after surveying is about 1 foot from the platted lot line. So the proposed split is jogs around that area to maintain a conforming side yard for the north dwelling. Both parcels will be 30 feet as platted. There's a difference in area from being platted of about 42 square feet. The north lot will be about 42 square feet more than platted. The south lot will be about 42 square feet less than platted. This was very, very enthusiastically supported by the Bronzeville Civic Association and NEAC, and we request your approval.
Board have any questions? So it appears that all the lots around this are small.
30 feet, yep.
And seems like this lot is out of character for the neighborhood.
Right, the platted lots are all 30 feet wide. They're plus or minus a bit, 126 feet deep, about 3,780 feet of area. Since we are not splitting exactly on the platted lot lines, it requires your
approval on the area variance. But really what's out of character is the 60-foot lot. And this will allow Mr. Freeman to build a new home that will reestablish that spacing and rhythm of the 30-foot dwellings up and down the street.
Anybody here to speak about this application? Any question, anybody? Property question can be used without the variance as it is being done. The variance appears substantial, but it looks like this variance is essentially trying to get the lots back to the original plotting and the character of the neighborhood. Don't see this as adversely affecting government services. I do want to add that the reason for the variance out of, consistency with the plotted line is because of the existing house. It has a bump out. So that is creating hardship for the normal split. I don't think they could obviate that situation other than tearing it down, which would not be feasible, other than getting this variance. And therefore, I think the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement will be observed and substantial justice done by granting the variance. Are you ready for the question? Questions being called, call the roll.
Mr. Webley,
Yeah, I agree with the chairwoman's conclusion analysis and then yes.
Ms. Egelhoff,
Likewise, agree with
Mr. Jones,
Okay.
Mr. Maleka,
Concur with the chair, but yes.
Chair Plummer Bailey.
Yes, variance is granted.
Very good, thank you.
74 West Star Avenue.
'74 West Star Avenue is located on the north side of West Star Avenue, approximately 550 feet west of North High Street. It's zoned ARLD and located in the Victorian Village of Mission. The 0.11 acre site is currently undeveloped. Surrounding uses are all residential with a mix of single and multi-unit dwellings. The applicant proposes to construct a 3-unit dwelling with a detached garage. Variances are being requested to reduce the required lot width from 50 feet to 35 feet, which is existing, to reduce the minimum required lot area from 7,500 square feet to 4,750 square feet, which is existing. To increase the maximum permitted lot coverage from 50%, which is 1,837.5 square feet of the lot, to 58%, 2,120 square feet of the lot. To reduce the building setback along West Star Avenue from 21.25 feet to 16 feet. Reduce the maximum side yard permitted from 7 feet, which is 20% of the lot width, to 6 feet. To reduce both side yard setbacks from 5 feet to 3 feet. And to increase the maximum permitted height of a garage from 15 feet to 25 feet. Planning has no comment on the proposal since this request will be reviewed by the Victorian Village Commission. Division of Traffic Management has no comments regarding this application. And the Victorian Village Commission recommends approval of this request. Staff can recommend approval of this request since some of the variances are existing conditions that are being brought into compliance. Furthermore, the proposal is similar to other residential properties in the surrounding area in terms of design and density.
Can you say your names, whether you're sworn in?
I'm Carrick Sherrill, the architect for the project. I have not been sworn in.
Okay.
I'm Brian Wu, I'm the applicant, and I have been sworn in.
You promise the testimony you give the truth and nothing but the truth. Please state I do.
I do.
Who's going to speak on it?
I will. As staff has outlined, this project is consistent with the pattern of development on the street and within the Victorian Village neighborhood as a whole. And we feel that it fits well within its surroundings. Short and sweet. It's also been approved by Victorian Village Commission.
So you're taking a single family and making it into a,
It's currently a vacant lot.
oh, okay.
I believe the lot split was made a number of years ago with the intent of building a duplex, and the parties at that point elected not to build the duplex and sold the lot separately.
Because I see the minimum required lot area reduction is an existing condition. I didn't follow that.
It's
It's an existing 4,750 square foot lot.
Oh, gosh, I was misreading that. I'm sorry. Okay. I was thinking it was, the next one said lot coverage. Sorry. Okay. Anybody here to speak about this application? Do we have questions from the board? Property in question could be in the reasonable return without these variances. I don't find these variances substantial. It looks like there is already existing conditions. With this lot, it's already small. It's already not meeting the width requirements. I think this is in line with the central character of the neighborhood with dense property, being in this area. As evidenced by the Victorian Village Commission recommending approval of this variance. I don't see the delivery of government services being adversely affected. I believe the property owner indicated that they purchased the property with knowledge of the zoning restrictions. There is no other way to build this dense property on this lot without the variances. And I think the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement, which does call for dense living in this area, would be observed and substantial justice done by granting variance. The variance is plural. Are we ready to call the question?
Call the question.
Questions been called? Please call the roll.
Ms. Egelhoff,
Agree with the chair's analysis that the factors and vote yes and the variances.
Mr. Jones,
I agree and vote yes.
Mr. Maleko,
Agree with the other factors as well, but yes.
Mr. Walgley,
I agree and vote yes.
Chair Plummer Bailey.
Yes, variance is granted. Thank you.
Thank you.
1561 Woodland Avenue.
Fifteen 61 Woodland Avenue is located on the northwest corner of Woodland Avenue and East 17th Avenue. It's zoned to M manufacturing and located in the North Central Area Commission. The site consists of 3 lots that have a combined area of 1.42 acres and are developed with a trucking company and outdoor storage areas. Surrounding uses include a gas station and manufacturing facility to the south, churches to the east, with residential further to the east, and truck storage to the west. The applicant proposes to update the site plan of record for a trucking business and is requesting variances to allow parking and storage of trucks and cars on a gravel surface and to reduce the storage setback from 20 feet to 10 feet from all other lot lines. The applicant is responding to a code violation order issued on November 15th of 21. Planning is generally supportive, but continues to request screening and street trees along roadway frontages. The North Central Plan recommends loading, service areas, and parking lots should be adequately landscaped and screened with plant material fencing or a combination and street trees should be planted along street frontages. Staff would support plastic slats or fabric added to the existing chain link fencing as sufficient screening. Staff support street trees shown along East 17th Avenue frontage, but continue to request additional street trees along the Woodland Avenue frontage. Therefore, planning is generally supportive, but requests additional screening and street trees along Woodland Avenue for consistency with plan design guidelines. Division of Traffic Management informed the applicant that a right-of-way dedication of 40 feet from the center line of East 17th Avenue will be required. The applicant has been informed that if a right-of-way exemption is not granted, then the applicant will need to modify the site to ensure all requirements are met within the expanded right-of-way, which would include revising the existing fence location. The North Central Area Commission recommends approval of this request by a vote of 6-0. Staff can recommend approval because the requested variances will bring the site into compliance, which will resolve the outstanding violation order and help organize the site. The applicant is aware that the East 17th Avenue right-of-way dedication exemption is not granted. That changes to the site will be necessary, including relocation of the existing fence. We are recommending a condition that the applicant will provide additional screening and street trees along Woodland Avenue for consistency with North Central Plan Design Guidelines.
Can you state your names and whether you were sworn in?
My name's Jack Reynolds. I'm an attorney with Smith and Hale, and I've been sworn in.
Kurt Hill, I was sworn in.
Again, Mr. Hill was cited by code enforcement to get a final site compliance approved by the city of Columbus. And so we've been working through that process for a period of time. And over that period of time, it was determined that we needed 2 variances in order for him to continue to operate as the property has been used for a number of years. Mr. Hill purchased the property in 2 pieces. And basically what we're doing is we're simply asking for Mr. Hill to continue to utilize the property as it has been utilized in the past. The driveways are asphalted. He's simply asking that he be allowed to park his trucks and his equipment on the gravel, which has been there. It was there when he purchased it. And then the gravel goes all the way up to the fence lines that encircle the property. And so we're simply asking, instead of 20 feet, because the property is somewhat narrow, both on the north and on the west side, that he be allowed to utilize a 10-foot setback. The property to the west is zoned M. Property to the north is also zoned M. I was here and represented the property owner to the west. We were granted a similar variance for both the gravel and the setback variance. So we'd like to get the variances approved so we can settle some issues that Mr. Hill has in common police court and get him in compliance with the zoning code and with the environmental code, or court, excuse me.
Is there a building on the site?
No, there is not. We're proposing a building. He'd like to have a repair facility which would meet code, so we don't need a variance there.
How many trucks, cars are we talking about being parked?
28.
He's got a very successful paving business there, paving. And so he basically, when you drive by in the evening, and the gates open, the property has fencing that's already been wrapped with fabric. It's consistent with what's been done on both the north and south side. So we've proposed the trees along 17th, and we'll work with the forester to add a tree onto Woodland in order to comply with the planning's requirements. But we're there to be good neighbors. And so, again, we'd like to get Mr. Hill in compliance so that he can move on and just operate his business.
So you said you've been operating in this way since you purchased it. How long ago did you purchase it?
I purchased 3 different properties there, and the last one I just purchased last year.
How long was your first purchase?
It's probably 10 years ago or longer.
Significant amount of time you've been
Yeah.
operating this way without any complaints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, and again, it was just the code enforcement hit this area and all of these properties got cited. What's interesting is the last piece that Mr. Hill purchased, which is abutting the BP station, out of site compliance approval on it. So simply because he purchased it and started using it as a part of his existing business, we had to add that in to bring it into the fold with the other two pieces that make up the inverted L.
Is there anybody here that wants to speak about this application? One's moving. Any board members have questions? Okay, hopefully nothing factors. The property in question, I think can only be used for manufacturing, so this would be in line with that. I don't see the variance being substantial here, because it is the essential character of the neighborhood. We usually do allow for parking of trucks and such on gravel in manufacturing zones. I don't see this as adversely affecting the delivery of governmental services. The property owner purchased this property with knowledge, or assumed knowledge of zoning restrictions, but has been operating this property consistently since, for at least 10 years, based on the applicant's testimony tonight. I don't see how this could be obviated through another mechanism other than variant. And I think that the spirit and intent behind zoning requirement would be observed, substantial justice done by granting these variances. Are we ready for the question?
Call the question.
Question been called, let's call the roll.
Mr. Jones?
I agree with the chair's assessment and vote yes.
Mr. Maleta?
I agree with well, vote yes.
Mr. Welby?
I concur, vote yes.
Ms. Eggloff?
Like to disagree with the chair and now it's still yes.
Chair Paul Bailey?
Yes, variance is granted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
CA Checkwood Place. Sheep.
Evening. I had no idea y'all worked this late. Thank you.
We work for you, so.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Don't include that, Mr. Confetti. Okay, 3368 Chetwood Place is located on the north side of Chetwood Place, roughly 200 feet east of Burston Street. The site is zoned in the PUD 8 Planned Unit Development District and is located within the Northwest Civic System. Subject site is developed with a single unit dwelling. Current uses are primarily single unit dwelling. The applicant proposes to construct a deck to the side yard. The request variance is to reduce the total side yard from 8 feet, 4 feet, 8 inches, and to reduce the minimum east side yard from 3 feet to 0 feet. The Northwest plan states that the scale and proportion of additions should be compatible with the principal and nearby structures. Proposal is consistent with plan design guidelines and does not substantially alter the character of the neighborhood, and therefore it is. Division of Traffic Management has no comments, and the Northwest Civic Association recommends approval. City staff can recommend approval as the proposal is consistent with the Northwest plan design guidelines, does not substantially alter the character of the neighborhood, and is therefore supported. Only not as to any conditions, Madam Chair.
Can you state your name, whether or not you're sworn in?
Colin Morlock. I'm CD Morlock Services. I'm the contractor on the project, and yes, I've been sworn in.
Do you have anything to add to the application?
Just that there was an existing deck there that the neighbor brought to our attention. A, it was in bad disrepair and was falling off the house. And B, the neighbor brought to our attention that it was over the property line, or claimed it was, and we got a survey done. It was indeed. So we're opting to we're trying to bring it back to the property line. And it was at that point we went to file the permits that were brought to our attention of the setback of 3 feet. And requesting to basically take it from an 8-foot deep deck that was over the property line to a 5'4" deck that's up to the property line, because This is one of only two egress points for the house. This is the way it was built. This is the only access to the backyard, and we can't even build a staircase there without encroaching on the 3-foot setback because the property line is 5.5 feet from off the house. So
And there's no way to put the deck on the back.
there's no door on the back. The back of the house is a bedroom on the interior and kitchen cabinets on the other side. So it would be a complete, this is a sliding door off the living room that is the access to the backyard.
Anybody here want to speak about this application? Come forward, please. Find your name.
My name is Hannah Cox. I'm with the zoning committee, for Northwest Civic Association. I'm not, no.
You promised the testimony gives the truth, please say I do.
I do. Basically I'm just here because we do recommend approval on this. We believe there's a hardship because of the door being elevated, also the location of the utilities, and because the side yard is so narrow. We did try to reach out to the neighbor multiple times, but did not get any sort of reply.
Reach out to who?
The adjacent neighbor.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Board members, do you have any questions? Okay. Gonna get back to, so the property as is could exist without the deck, but I don't think this variance is substantial. I do appreciate the applicant doing their due diligence on the lot lines and making this deck apply and not over the line as the neighbor pointed out. Because of the positioning of the house with the sliding doors on the side and the narrow side yard, I don't think that there's any other predicament that, I'm sorry, I don't think the predicament could be feasibly obviated through another method other than this variance. I don't see any government services being adversely affected. I don't see this altering the character of the neighborhood. And so I think the spirit and intent behind this requirement would be observed and substantial justice done by granting these variances. I'm ready for a question.
Ready to call the question?
Mr. Malaka? Mr. Malaka? Yeah.
Chair. Oh, yes?
Mr. Weatherly?
I concur, yes.
Ms. Egelhoff?
I'd like to concur with the chair's analysis and vote yes.
Chair Palmer Bailey?
Yes, variance is granted.
Thank you all very much.
3100 East Broad Street.
Hope you're getting over to.
3100 East Broad Street is located at northeast corner of East Broad Street. In North Harding Road, site is zoned in the UGN1 Urban General District. Those are the jurisdictions of the area commission. This 2.43 acre site is developed with a 19,900 square foot building that houses its religious facility, daycare, surroundings include a medical office to the east, police station to the west, single-family residential dwellings to the north and south. We have been proposing to install a perimeter fence and request variance to increase the allowable height from 4 feet to 6 feet. The new zoning code states that screening, for headlight screening must be a minimum of 36 inches in height and have a minimum year-round capacity of 75%. Along streets and open spaces, headlight screening must not exceed a height of 48 inches. Site received variance in 2018 to raise the previous religious facility and rebuild with the current. Planning is not supportive of the proposal as presented. Planning staff would support a 4-foot fence consistent with UGN1 zoning district requirements. If, however, the Board of Zoning Adjustment were to support this variance, planning would request that a condition of the board order include additional landscaping and screening of the fence consistent with along the citywide planning guidelines. The Division of Traffic Management would require the proposed gates to be 20 feet away from the right of way, so queuing vehicles would not block the sidewalk along Broad Street. The future sidewalk, plan has been reviewed by traffic management, and they are now okay with that addition. The East Area Division recommends approval of this request, and city staff is recommending approval. Although it is our opinion that the Title 34 standard for fence height of 4 feet is appropriate and could be supplemented with other security-minded measures, for example, rose bushes, the sharp tops of the fence that further discourage approaching or climbing. Staff realizes that the spirit and intent of the urban general district, which is to promote a predominantly walkable district, will still be realized as a proposed fence that wrought iron would not obstruct sightlines beyond visibility of open spaces. If approved, staff requests the following conditions. Number one, that the applicant will commit to a landscape plan showing additional landscaping, the site plan, and screening of the fence consistent with the Columbus C2 P2 guidelines, and that only a wrought iron fence will, with an opacity not to exceed 25% shall be installed.
So you're saying that the fence has to be wrought iron?
Yes.
Okay. But that's,
Which is what.
but that's not a code requirement, right? It's just-
No, the code requirement is just 4 feet.
Right.
But if they're going to go 6 feet, it would have to be.
Okay, that's what I was like, sure. So if the fence is 6 feet, you want it to be wrought iron.
Right.
Okay, can you say your names, whether or not you're sworn in?
Yes, David Hodge, attorney for the applicant, and I have been sworn.
Natalie Adler, and I have been sworn in.
Interesting case here. As you know, the code relatively recently changed, and until that code change occurred, there would have been no issue with a 6-foot fence here, but the code changed and the
Well, say that.
I think it is true, isn't it?
6-foot private fence, and it's required front yard.
Yeah, but it's not, but this meets the opacity, it's not really a privacy fence.
Well, that's all. But it would have, there would be an issue, is what I'm saying. So it's not like you have park lawn with the old code. I just want to clarify.
Fair enough. So this is a synagogue. They undertook a security assessment for the property with an expert in the field, a former FBI agent. They identified some vulnerabilities in their system, and they have some verified threats, not only regionally, but nationally, and specifically here to this location. They used that security assessment, submitted to the state of Ohio for a grant. Were awarded the grant for $100,000 towards increasing the security measure, including this 6-foot fence. We have undertaken a landscape plan to adequately buffer this 6-foot fence, consistent with the C2, P2 requirements. That's the landscape plan that is in your package. With reference to the fence composition, Jamie, on that, it talks about wrought iron, and this fence is actually aluminum, and it also talks about stamping this plan and committing to this plan. So that's what we'd like to do is have the plan in the package stamped that shows the wrought iron or the aluminum fence that you can see there on the screen. So just wanted to.
But as depicted on.
As depicted on the plan. Yeah, as depicted on the plan. There are 2 fences, and if I may approach Chair Palmer Bailey and point to the screen. So the fence that we're talking about is out along the front. That's that aluminum. Around the back of the property, it can be 6 feet. That is a different composition back. So that's all shown on the plan, and that composition is shown on the plan, but no issue from a code perspective as it relates to that fencing back there. Staff also mentioned the traffic issue. That's part of the reason we had this site plan put together. In addition to the landscaping issue, we worked with traffic management to make sure that this fencing was appropriate and that the ingress and the egress was appropriate, and traffic management has signed off on that.
Certainly grateful for the city staff recommendation of approval. We also met with the Mideast Area Commission. They recommended approval by a vote of, I think, 10-0 in support of this. And so, you know, while we did have to iron out some issues with planning, iron out some issues with traffic, this did result in a city recommendation of approval. I can certainly go through and address the Duncan factors to demonstrate the practical difficulty here. I think that the statement of practical difficulty or statement in support of variances we submitted with the application really adequately addresses that. So Chair Palmer Bailey, you've done an amazing job all night going through those. I'm happy to go through those here if it's the board's pleasure. But we respectfully submit that this fencing is necessary. It's verified by an expert in the field. This property was awarded a grant from the state of Ohio. And it's, you know, unfortunate that the volume in the world that we live in is as high as it is, but the volume is as high as it is in the world we live in. And this is a vulnerable community, and they've identified a need for this and are doing so responsibly with providing the perimeter landscaping to soften that in accordance with C2P2. I'll stop there, and between Natalie and I and Zach Looper Friedman over my shoulder, we'll do our best to answer any questions that the board has.
This fence, am I understanding this right? This is right up against the property line? Am I looking at the site plan correctly?
Can I come back up to the screen?
I'm sure that sidewalk is right there in the front.
Yeah, so there's a large sidewalk down along Broad Street, and then it's actually a big sidewalk, and then set back up into this landscaping bed. And so the fence is located back behind the landscaping bed.
Okay.
So there's a landscaping bed, the fence, and then the screening out.
And then there's parking right behind. So your need for safety is for people getting through the fence, up and around the fence?
And driving,
And
driving through off of Broad Street up through the drive aisles into the building.
So the need for the, okay.
And the security assessment was also included in the application, Chair Palmer Bailey, that from the retired Joint Terrorism Task FBI agent, which was also used to submit to the state of Ohio for the grant.
So there's no, because of the 25% capacity, there's no vision clearance.
We have adequate vision clearance. In fact, we showed the vision clearance triangles on the plan. So at the ingress and egress, there's vision clearance. We've not requested a variance there. And with this aluminum fence, it's not like it's no opacity. So it is wrought iron style, and you can see through with the softening of the landscaping on the outside of the fencing.
Are there other, I know Broad Street has other synagogues, temples on this street. Are there others that have done this similar thing with their property?
They, I think the answer to that question is no, with reference to the other synagogues. I live right there, so I drive them down Broad Street almost every day. Different synagogues have undertaken different measures. I don't know whether others submitted for this grant. It's super interesting, and Jamie, this might have been why I came to the conclusion, maybe I'm wrong about that the 6 foot is allowed by right, but there's a Plaza Properties condominium development just across the street from this, basically, that has a 6 foot aluminum fence right out along the frontage, and that's a neighbor of the synagogue. I don't know the side streets on that, but that's literally just down the street from here. So when you talk about consistency with the character of the neighborhood, there is this type of treatment along Broad Street already. That is also softened with some arborvitae landscaping, and I think the landscaping we propose here is way better.
So both conditions are being met? what you're saying?
Both conditions are being met with the modification that the instead of wrought iron, it's just gonna be as shown on the landscape plan.
Yeah, I'd like to reduce.
Say metal, we say metal?
Well, I was gonna say the applicant will commit to the fence as depicted on the stamp site plan. I believe this site plan, even stamp it,
Okay,
does give the materials.
okay, so watching that finish.
The wrought iron and corrugated fence.
Okay.
What about, traffic has a comment about the gates between the way that's the issue.
The revised plan has addressed that there is 20 feet of spacing between sidewalk, effectively at least 20 feet between sidewalk gates. So even if there's one vehicle that has to stop, so they don't block the gate or get in there, that's not going to block the sidewalk or the road.
Thank you.
Now, is the gate being locked?
The gate, so congregants, so we submitted a full ingress and egress plan to traffic management. The gates will operate usually like on a daily basis by a fob that congregants have in their car. They come in and it opens. But on high holidays, when there's an expectation of a lot of folks attending, it'll be manned by security personnel and kept open.
What about trash and, going on?
Yeah, so the synagogue has worked out plans with folks that need to service trash so that they have access in and out. There's a school there, so there are people there on a daily basis on the premises.
Any other questions? Is there anybody here that wants to speak about this application? Please come forward. Please state your name and when I was sworn in.
I was sworn in. My name is Brittany Newmark.
Sorry, last name?
Newmark, Newmark. I live at 3121 Denver Avenue, and my backyard backs right into the fence that exists now and their property. And I'm here to say that I really, they feel that they need, my husband's a rabbi in town, so, I know about security. They feel they need this fence, okay, but there's gonna be two different fences. I'm only talking about the one on my in the back of my house. And right now there's a wooden fence that I think is about 6 feet tall. And I would like that to remain in place. And for them, if they need to, put their new fence in front on their side. I don't really want, some huge aluminum industrial fence in my backyard. So that is my request, is that the fence that is in the back of my house is not removed. It would cause a lot of problems for me. I have a lot of gardening material back there that can't be moved. And it's likely to, get damaged or destroyed. I lose it. So I basically just kind of want to be left.
So you're saying that the construction of the fence is gonna cause damage to?
Yeah, there was a lot of damage to my property in the past construction.
So they would not be allowed to damage your property if they're?
Well, they have damaged my property in the past, so I just want to be left alone. We're senior citizens, I just retired. We can't really afford anything else on us. So just, put their fence flush against the old fence and just leave the old fence.
So I'm gonna have an applicant come back, because I didn't understand they were putting two fences up. I think it was just.
Okay, yeah, no, they're putting two different types of fencing up. One is for everyone to see, and one is what goes in the back of our house, which is not gonna be aesthetically pleasing or any of that. It's gonna be And aluminum, from the description, the wooden fence in back of our property will be replaced with an aluminum privacy fence. That there are no aluminum fences in the neighborhood. All the fences are wood. I have other wood fencing on my property. Then I'm gonna have some aluminum fence. It completely ruins the character of my home and yard.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think that.
Okay, the alley is defunct. The alley has never, ever been used at all. So, there were a bunch of trees and old growth that they took down. They completely cut it down.
Stop you for a second though. You would not be able to have gardens up against their fence.
I don't have a garden up against their fence, but my doors look right out there.
Your earlier concern about, you said you have garden materials. That
Yeah, I
could
have
be
garden
damaged-
materials.
that
Yeah,
could be damaged if. they-
Yes. yeah.
There's an alley space.
No, there isn't. They took it. There's no alley space. It's not there anymore.
An issue that city would have to.
Okay.
advocate on, I mean.
Okay, maybe they can do another.
I find it hard to believe that a operation as big as this would be encroaching on land that is not theirs. As you're saying there, not saying that you're lying, but I'm just saying.
I mean, you should have an aerial. Do you have a Google Maps or something? Okay, so I can't even recognize my vision isn't really good. I can't even recognize my. 3121 Denver Avenue.
So you're saying there is no cars going? through
No,
back-
never has been I've lived there 25 years.
There's
Never.
not- When I say no cars, there's not even a road.
There's no road, there's no cars. There used to be trees, but they cut them down. There used to be some bushes, those are gone too. There is a broken phone pole back there, but
So that's, this picture right here, that looks like a path of some sort. Maybe
that
that's-
has nothing to do with my house.
That looks like it,
I don't know where that is.
it goes from an old alley.
But that's it.
Yeah, the old alley with right over.
Yes, it was never an alley. There was maybe, I don't know, 12 feet.
So if there's overgrowth back there, then is that blocking your?
There's no overgrowth back there. No, I mean, there's a couple of trees that they didn't cut down, but, I mean, there really is. The neighbor has has some trees and stuff, so you could not drive a car through there. It's not possible.
Yeah, I guess.
I just want,
I guess looking at the lot lines, they would be allowed to put a fence on their lot line that
Mhm.
does not look like it would be encroaching upon the use of your property.
but what I'm asking is that they put their fence in front of the fence that already exists and not remove the wooden fence.
But you agree that the wooden fence is their fence, correct?
The wooden fence is their fence, yes. The wooden fence is their fence and it's on their line.
It's already at 6 feet.
What?
It's already at 6 feet tall. So they're not changing anything except the material, and I don't think that we
Right,
can dictate what material they.
but if they want that material, fine. I want to leave it wood. My other fences I have,
But you don't own their property, that's the problem.
I understand that.
They're
But
not allowed to put a fence.
I'm not saying not to put a fence. I'm just saying to just leave the one that's there and put their fence in front of it. So here's a fence,
But they-
wood, and here's another fence.
That uses up their property in a way that they may not want to utilize. So I appreciate the testimony, this has been helpful.
Okay, but really
But
be
I
the
think-
only to have that kind of ugly aluminum fence? We actually live there 24/7.
Ugly is relative.
Okay, this is true.
They-
Ugly is relative.
The code doesn't even.
Okay, I request then that they do a survey of the property exactly where the lines are, and they give me the results of that survey.
So I can't require them to give you the result of the survey.
Mhm.
What I can say is that any property owner can only do things to their property.
Okay,
And I think they understand that. And so
Okay.
if you feel like they've encroached on land that isn't theirs and possibly yours, then you do have a right to address that with the city and say they're encroaching on my property. But I can't require them to.
you can't require them. Okay, is there any way, until something gets done, is there anything I can do to sort of stall, to stall this so I can have some time to figure out what my legal options are?
I don't think you have any legal options against their.
Correct, but, I don't want to see a really ugly industrial aluminum fence in my garden.
So the legal option that I know exists after this is after we decide this vote, then you can appeal and file a claim with the common pleas, Court of Common Pleas.
Okay, common please.
And you can appeal our ruling and meet the legal standards for doing that and make your position with the court, and then they will determine whether you have a cause of action and whether they'll take the case.
Okay, and now what about checking the property line part?
You're free to check your property line. I don't
Okay.
know that anybody can check somebody else's property line. I don't see why you couldn't. You can pay for that.
Okay. Okay. So when,
But what I think though is, I think that the synagogue here would be a good neighbor. And
no,
would be amenable to a conversation with you about this.
they've refused to return any of my phone calls. They have not been a good
Well,
neighbor.
you're here right now.
I
So
know.
maybe these are not the individuals that you've been trying to.
No, they are. I mean, I've left messages.
Be a mediator here.
No, I understand that. I completely understand that. And, thank you for being like court, whatever, appeals, common pleas.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Okay. And the city can help you with getting this transcript and things that you would need to make that. You would have to potentially hire an attorney unless you want to represent yourself.
Yeah, I don't want to spend the last decade of my life looking at an aluminum fence. It's just, I live there. My garden is famous in the neighborhood. It's truly, I don't brag a lot, but my garden is famous. And it really would be ugly. And the likelihood of workmen damaging stuff back there is really high. It's really high.
What we also could do is build your own fence on your property line. Living or however else you want to do it, to save the cost of appeal, use those funds for.
Yeah, no, I have fences. I have a bunch of different wooden fences and I want, I don't want something clashing with everything. Yeah.
Noise.
I'm just,
Anybody else want to?
Brittany. Noise.
oh, the noise. Noise, yeah. We had,
Hold on. They're not here to, get a variance for anything that is a noise issue. They're here.
well, how much noise is this gonna create of the fencing? What they're gonna do?
It's construction, ma'am.
I know, but we've lived through
Right, but I can't-
3 years of their construction.
I cannot prevent a property owner from doing something on their land.
Mhm.
I mean, construction, it can't be for so prolonged. So I think, yes, there will be some days there's probably noise, but there's nothing that we invite. Street noise.
Right. I want to put down the number of this.
Will the applicant please come forward back?
So a few things to address there. Temple Israel has, in fact, tried to be a good neighbor.
Can you step back so I can pick up?
As you know, the city sends out its own notice of the meeting to owners. Temple Israel undertook a same mailing to adjacent property owners to let them know of their plans and to let them know that about this process. So they are a good neighbor. Temple Israel is also willing to meet directly with Ms. Newmark to talk about that perimeter and hopefully come to an accord. So it's not, Temple Israel's objective is to make sure that they have a secure facility. Their objective is not to diminish the aesthetics of the neighborhood and diminish the aesthetics for the adjacent property owner. And we understand that, we heard her say that she doesn't want an industrial look back there. So Temple Israel will meet directly with her to talk about what that shared perimeter needs to be. I think it's worth, reiterating that while that portion of the fencing is Ms. Newmark's concern, that is not an issue before the board. The issue before the board is the fencing out along the Broad Street.
Well, that's what I'm gonna ask about, is that why is this even one, why do we have this on site plan?
What do you have, what?
This, the black fence.
I didn't.
Yeah, our architect put that on there to adequately, to accurately show what the fencing was going to be.
And the fence in the back is 6 foot already.
It is 6 foot already and it's proposed to be 6.
And
You all have,
already have that. Oh, we don't need a variance.
you don't, yeah, if you get up, I think if you get up above 6, the city calls it a building and then you need a variance.
Technically, new code doesn't really address fence height per se, it addresses headlight screening, and that's where fencing comes in. So any headlight screening would be to the right of ways. It would be 4 feet tall landscape, so since this will not be during for the right of way. Yeah, it doesn't, it's not out of this light screen. It's a lot like right.
It's a very weird section of the new code.
It's being.
It's being modified because I raised the issue of how weird this section of new code is with commercial zoning clearance.
Screening is only really front.
Not necessarily, because it's wherever vehicular traffic would. Or be wherever vehicular traffic would be viewed from the right. So if you remember we did a dog park down on Broadway. They had a screening, their whole front area was parking. We did screening for the east and west, because that's where the cars come in and that's where the right of way is. So because there's no alley here, Dan, I don't know if you.
There isn't that, it is an alley. I mean, it's a.
Well, okay, so it shows it on, it shows it on the right of way, the auditor site, but, as we saw.
But there's no cars back there, there's no.
It doesn't look like any cars.
I think the way you would say that is it's a paper alley. It is a public right of way, but it's an unimproved public right of way, which happens sometimes. But it is public right of way along the north side between these properties.
But that would require screening.
Well, so again, the code says headlight screening must be a minimum of 36 inches height and a minimum year-round capacity of 75%. Along streets and open spaces, headlight screening must not exceed 48 inches.
But it's not a street, it's an alley because of the width of it.
Right. Well, yeah, it's definitely not a street. I mean,
But it's
open space.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a 15-foot unimproved right. That, at least from the street view pictures, it appears to be some type of utility corridor in here, or utility line. Street paving, no opportunity for any traffic.
But regardless, I mean, if that's residential from the north, I think city staff would prefer that it actually be a privacy fence, not the 70% clear, back and forth or something.
Maximum what? I'm sorry.
Opaqueness.
At the end of the day, we'd like to meet directly with Ms. Newmark to address her aesthetic concern. And we're absolutely committed to do so. We'll exchange information after the meeting and reach out to her directly so that it's not anybody reaching out to us and that call going unreturned or whatever the claims may be.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions from the board? No one else who wants to speak about this application? Okay, going to the Duncan factors.
I do have a question.
Ma'am, you have to come up. Let me speak.
My name is,
Sworn in, please.
I was not sworn in, and my name is Claudia Frank, and I'm just a friend.
You promise that the testimony gives them the truth and the truth, please say that you.
I do.
Can you pull the mic closer to you?
Sure. I just have a question. If that alleyway is a public right of way, why is Temple Israel claiming the land to put a fence on if it's not their property?
So I don't know that they were doing that, ma'am. I think.
But if they put the fence on a public,
That would not be allowed.
okay, so that is a problem then.
Yeah, it is a problem. That is what they're doing. I don't know. I don't think it's anybody in here knows what they're doing.
But the drawings show the fence on their property.
So that's
That whole 15-foot gap between the line and the fence.
So they would have to abide by that for a new fence to go up. They can only put it on their property.
Right, but if their property, if it isn't their property, if it is a public right of way, why are they?
They would only be able to put the fence on their property.
All right, I don't know, I really,
But that's the right of way, we're putting it on property.
but they have a property line and then the public right of way and then Temple Israel property line, right?
Sorry, what?
If there's the property line of my friend
Yes.
and then the public right of way and then Temple Israel, why are they putting it up against their?
They're putting it on, the temple's putting it on their property. But if you look, this is the residential property. This is the right of way. This is the temple's property. Temple's putting it on this line, their property.
Okay.
There's no way 50 feet away from residential property.
It may be that your friend's garden is in the right.
No,
So there should be space, that's all I'm saying, there should be space in between the property line of one person and the property on the others.
okay,
What's actually happened, I can't speak to because I haven't been out there. You 4, 5 people
okay,
know what's there, and I think that you guys are talking and thinking that results.
okay,
Possibly walking the site, so that somebody might see, show you where the lines.
Sure. okay. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to the Duncan Baxter here. The property in question, could be used without the fence, but the applicant demonstrated through their security survey that they're in need of additional security. The variance is not substantial, going from 4 feet to 6 feet because they are going to be at 25% density. The central character of the neighborhood would not be substantially altered, and in fact, the applicant testified on the record that property across the street has a similar metal slated fence. The variance would not adversely affect the delivery of government services. The applicant testified that they have a methodology for government services to governmental entities to access the property. The property owner indicated they have purchased of the property with knowledge of the zoning restriction, although we do acknowledge that the zoning restriction has changed recently. after the applicant received the grant for the fence, which is why they are here, asking for a variance. I don't think that they could provide security in any other way other than a variance. Absent 24-hour alarm guards. But I do feel the spirit and intent behind this zoning requirement would be observed and substantial justice done by granting variance. Just for the record, we are voting only on the increase of the height of the fence from 4 feet to 6 feet along Broad Street, with the two conditions being the landscape plan shown on the drawing, as well as a fence as depicted on the left-hand side of the drawing for the Broad Street location. Clear? Ready to go, question?
Call the question.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Bowley?
Yes, the chair's analysis, I go yes.
Ms. Eklof?
Likewise, we vote yes. Chair analysis, you just want to take a second to thank the chair or great analysis of the please.
Mr. Malaka?
I concur with the chair opinion. Vote yes.
Chair Paul Bailey?
Yes, thank you, Strand.
Thank you all.
Meeting is adjourned.
All right, we still have police to table, or it would. It's at its case, so.
Meeting on adjourned. So Chase. The 6 Post Street.
Yeah.
So we will have a motion to table. We'll entertain a motion to table.
Second.
Okay, please call the roll.
Ms. Eklof?
Yes.
Mr. Malaka?
Yeah. Vote
Yes.
Chair Paul Bailey?
Yes. You're on. Oh, wait, hold on. We can get out of there. Oh, motion that we adjourn. Second. Call the roll. Okay, voice vote, please. All in favor? Yes. Yes, favor.